Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thanks for stopping by. Our dedicated team will guide you through with the latest updates and theories at Starbase, Texas. To the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for future streams.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Zach Golden. Welcome to another Starbase Weekly live stream. Happy to be here with y'all today, as always. Got tons of exciting stuff to talk about. I'm going to go ahead and preface this with a mention of all of the new HLS news today, or this week, and we may or may not talk about that if we have time at the end of the show. I think a lot of people have done a pretty good job of covering all the stuff that's new, but I'm sure some people may have questions, so if we have time near the end of the show, we'll probably talk about that. But, with the way that the show's been going the last few weeks, 3.5 hours without talking about extra stuff, we'll get lucky if we end up having time to discuss that, but we will try. But we do have Alex joining us today. Alex, thanks for being here.
Thanks for being Zach. I'm not going to say much because, there's a lot to cover.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I don't know if he was planning to chime in today, but BJ's with us. So BJ, if you would like to chime in whenever, feel free.
Yeah, glad to be here. Welcome everyone again. We had great skies and great images this week.
Yeah, it's as you can tell from this image, it was very, very clear. It's always touch and go with the weather at Starbase, as y'all know. Been super windy over the last few days, actually. They actually even had a day where they weren't able to do any work at all as far as crane operations go. So we got lucky that the day after that was clear enough to get a good flyover in. So definitely got some great images for this week. Last but not least, we also have Matt, who will be handling questions and donations today. The little delay before you said that made it seem like maybe it wasn't very genuine. I feel like I heard a deep sigh. Awesome. So we also, Mauricio is going to be joining us for a little bit. He wanted to do a little PSA. So Mauricio, how's it going?
Hey everyone, I'm back. It's been a few years, but yeah, just a little update. We did get that laptop in, and we have been using it. This is the first flyover we have been using the laptop, so I want to make sure you all know that it's definitely putting in work. It's a great laptop, and it is speeding up the editing process. So I do want to thank everybody for donating and supporting us throughout this whole you know, and I did post an image not too long ago on X. If you guys haven't followed us there, I think we've been doing this for about 7 years now. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like we started this like 2 years ago. But
Well,
I just
I guess technically the Starbase Weekly live streams was like 3 years ago, 3. But as far as your flyovers, yeah, it's been close to 7 years if you count what 2000. My earliest flyover is from 2019, so yeah, next year will be 7. You did one in 2018 as well, right?
Yeah, the very first one is 2018. I have some unreleased footage. I haven't, I was going through some hard drives, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't think people have seen before. I should probably just refloat those, put a video together and show it to you all. But yeah, it's yeah, thanks so much. I'll be around. I'll see if I can start dropping in here every once in a while just to say hi. But other than that, thank you so much. Y'all take care. Back to you, Zach.
Hey, yeah, you should definitely upload all of those images. That would be really cool, actually. Make a video with it as well, but I personally would appreciate it if you uploaded them. Just saying.
Hint, hint.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, in that case, we'll go ahead and start the show. We will go ahead and move over to Massey's as always, where we got tons of stuff to talk about. They are making lots of progress every single week, getting closer and closer to finishing the repair job on the static fire test stand, the methane tank farm, as well as a very large retrofit job going on at the Locks farm. And, also still working on the structural test stands for the Booster 18.3 test that we're still waiting on to be completed. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. But starting off at the static fire stand, it looks like they have finally made progress in the area that a lot of people have been waiting for, because I think we get questions every single week asking when they're going to move this thing. And it seems clear that they definitely won't need to be doing that, at least not until they're ready to perform that first static fire test. But they have finally gotten the clamp mechanism installed. I don't know if this is the full clamp right here. It's difficult to tell, but they do have at least the base of those clamps installed. Sorry, let me try and find a clearer image of this. Do you guys think this is the full clamp mechanism?
It looks very much like what they've been installing on the install stands in Megabay too.
Yeah, those two,
Yeah.
those two kind of those two little fingers kind of there in the middle do seem like they're. I think that's been
Sorry,
the
trying to
debate.
find a good one to.
Yeah, the
point out.
debate's been kind of on whether like this part actually does the clamping onto it, or if there's the piece on the ship goes into it and then like spreads to get underneath them, or is that a question of who's got the active side of the mechanism?
To me, it kind of looks like it would be on the ship side, unless these right here retract, but they don't look like they do. I mean, I guess they could swing back in either direction.
I mean, you can see what looks like two pivot points there, just farther down along the side of just above those 6 bolts. You can or 5 bolts below the mating surface. It looks those look like pivot points that would support that those do move somehow.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. That's interesting. I mean, it seems a little bit more low profile, I suppose, compared to the previous one. I mean, not a huge difference, but having two basically clamp mechanisms instead of one.
Well, and one of the things that it almost looks like the way that the top of that hook is curved, it almost feels like it could be like a seatbelt buckle, where like that receiver that's on the ship could even almost just push itself in and self lock, and then you just actuate a release mechanism instead of having to actuate it both directions or something. It just gives that vibe to me.
Right. Yeah. Like it when it drops down onto this, it pushes it backwards
Yeah.
or pushes it to the side.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe not, but that's kind of the impression I get when you kind of look at how that contour is.
I had the exact same thought process, BJ.
Yeah, this is much different than the previous setup on here. I think the other rails that were on the in between the clamps weren't quite as they didn't cover the full circumference. Like there was gaps in between them, and one of the things that obviously is also very different is the spacing of the hold down clamps. So you can see that there's larger spacing on these two sides, front and back, and then there's smaller gaps in between the each of the actual clamps. So yeah, it's very interesting the way that they changed that. I wonder, I'm trying to think of a reason why to do that.
Yeah.
I can't.
Go ahead, Alex. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where, we kind of noticed that there was a potential for that last week. I didn't get to see last week's show, so I don't know how much you talked about it. But it was interesting whether there's something in that geometry for the future 6 RVACs or something in the structure that forced them to adjust that spacing.
Yeah, I would imagine to some degree they have started planning for 6 RVACs, trying to minimize the amount of changes they're going to have to make to other structures. So like, obviously if they can avoid it, they would prefer not to have to make an entire new static fire stand and transport stands if possible. I think that those things should be safe when they move on to the version 4, but there are other things that will obviously have to change. The QD will probably stay the same if I had to guess. But one of the big things I've been thinking is that they may have to swap out the entire flame bucket potentially. But we'll see. I did mention that last week as well, so I won't go back into the thought process on that.
Yeah, and actually, Zach, one other thing that it just clicked in my head from one of the comments I made too is that we did notice too that the spacing also worked better with there's a 20 was it 20? Yes, 20 apexes in the hot stage ring structures, and if they would have been equidistant on the 60 like it used to be, you'd be putting a point load in different places relative to those struts in the hot stage ring.
The band though should help distribute it.
Yeah, but here it precisely places the spacing now precisely places them 6 struts, 7 struts, 7 struts, which I forget what the degrees is on that off the top of my head.
Yeah,
but
they're
between struts, right? Not on top of them.
Correct. They're splitting. So they're kind of, I mean, obviously the load heads actually is doing some distribution, but by putting it in the middle, it's going to spread it evenly-ish to each adjacent one as opposed to it being primarily right on the one that's above it.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, they've been running into that 20 spacing issues, and a lot of it sort of ties their hand a lot, it seems.
Yeah, gotta love patterns. The other thing that we noticed this week, what they were doing literally as the flyover was happening, because if you looked at some of the images from earlier in the flyover, they were in the process of installing these pipes down here. So this is basically the LOX chill vent for the ship, which I think is interesting because they, as far as we can tell, aren't doing this on the orbital launch mount for pad B. So yeah, at least here it looks like they'll still be dumping the liquid oxygen vent. This is actually bigger than the previous one, I think.
It is.
Like this is about the size of the one that they used for the booster.
Yeah, the difference is they're not collecting on the ship like they were doing. I mean, to the QD like they're doing for the booster. It drops
Right.
their complexity quite a bit.
Yeah, which is interesting because I don't
Yeah.
see why. I mean, it's just one extra pipe that goes back to the farm, really. Like, I don't get why not just do that. But I mean, if they're not actually recovering it, I guess it doesn't really make sense where it doesn't matter where you purge that. But it looks like that will go back down to the same location where it was at previously.
Well, does it not make a difference? The skirt, the little skirt blowout.
Yeah. I mean, well, I guess the question on here is like if it's I have a feeling it's going to be collected through the QD
And
but
dumped.
then dumped instead of collected. So on the previous version, they had the hoses that were along the side, and then those were collected into that pipe. So instead of having separate hoses, they'll just go through the QD. That's what it looks like so far.
That will help with for the propellant transfer as well.
Yeah. And this is coming up right here. So I think we can kind of assume that the LOX is on this side and methane on this side.
Yes. Which mirrors the booster. Yeah, it's the same as the booster.
Are you sure about that?
I mean, where the LOX hood is versus the methane hood.
Yeah, if you're looking,
Yeah,
at
good
the
point,
side with
yeah.
the QD, methane's on the right. Yeah, that would be right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thanks, BJ.
And I was just looking in there. I don't know if I thought we said that was an elbow last night during show and tell, but doesn't that look like a T that's actually going to that pipe going left of that as well? In this image?
It is a T.
Okay, that's what I thought I was just seeing. I think we discussed the opposite last night, or at least to my memory.
Which is interesting because I don't see any valve. This doesn't look like a valve.
Yeah.
Interesting things going on there. I mean, this could be. This may not be like a LOX line right here because I think the big one back here, or one of the big ones, there's 3 right here, I think, on 2 for methane and then a LOX one underneath them, I think. So this could be a separate line, which may actually be for like purging as well.
Yeah, thought they had 2 large ones coming out of the LOX side as well as the methane side from the bunker.
Yeah, that if you trace that pipe, it actually goes back to it's the LOX return line on the LOX side of the bunker, the smaller one.
Okay.
It's very reminiscent of how they have the GSC for PED too.
I was looking for another angle, but I don't think I'm going to find it. Anyways, so as far as the piping that goes up to the QDs, there is another little update from that as well too. This is something that we've talked about pretty much every week as far as the survivability of all of this, all of these structures. And as you can tell, they are adding shielding around all of the plumbing coming out of the bunker, which is very interesting. I kind of surprised they're doing it this early, especially if they fully enclose it, because I mean, they haven't even done like a pressure test of any of this stuff yet, because it's still, well, I suppose they could have. If all of these are capped off, they may have been able to do that, but I don't think they're fully connected in the trench yet. So interesting to start closing all of this in without having that. But yeah, you can see the box that they're building around this, which I assume will extend all the way to the test stand. They're, I think, missing a few like posts that would need to be here in order for that to happen. Because like you're not going to curve around this, you're going to have to basically make a corner right here. So there are a few missing posts that would be needed in order to complete that box, but it's going to look interesting. See it from above as well too. Let's see if I can find it. Tons of pictures from Massey's this week, so sometimes a little difficult to find certain things. Okay, that's not what I was looking for.
And it's very reminiscent of the shielding they put on the, what do they call it? The ring wall? The temporary test stand of the ship?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not that thick. It looks like it's maybe like, I don't know, half an inch, 3/4.
Yeah.
But
At
it's better than
most.
nothing. Actually, now that I see this, they don't even have all of this stuff fully hooked up yet. So that makes it all the more interesting that they're adding the shielding on the sides.
I wonder if those are quick connectors.
You thinking they're going to go with hoses here?
They might, for part of it at least, because yeah, those don't look like normal caps, but
Yeah, it looks like they haven't started the methane side yet. Wait, is this? Yeah, this is the methane side, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of shielding, I guess they are also finishing up rebar on the roof. Still have a good amount left to do. We can see a big pile of it. Okay. Trying to get the angle that shows it, but there's a big pile of rebar down here that's still waiting to be added. There we go. So yeah, quite a lot of rebar up here. This reminds me of the blast surface for Pad A, which was really thick rebar like this. It's not very frequent that we see rebar this thick. I don't even think the rebar for the flame trench was for Pad B was this thick.
No, Megabay 2 foundation, I think,
Yeah.
was almost as thick, but
Yeah, like this is almost more rebar than concrete.
Yeah, and there was actually a concrete pumper right in that area for about 7 hours early this morning, so it may have already been poured.
oh wow.
Wow. So they got all that rebar work done in one day?
Some of that might be for the blast wall.
Yeah,
as well.
There's probably a lot of blast wall rebar there too.
Oh, yeah, good point. Because they haven't started that yet, so you would think it would be over there, but yeah, I guess that's, I mean, because this does look like it's nearly finished, so this probably is all for the blast wall then.
It's ridiculous how thick it is, even if they didn't add more to it.
Yeah, thick with 2 C's there for sure. Yeah, I really like what we're seeing here though, because overall just vastly more protected than it was previously. Still, I think the only thing that would be at risk is the actual QD itself. But given the way they're protecting this, I wouldn't be surprised to see some additional shielding on here as well too. Specifically like panels across the front and maybe not on the sides unless there's a hole through it for this pipe to come out. But yeah, it looks like they may possibly add more shielding elsewhere. Cool. What else do we have? Nothing really with the water farm. I think that's all relatively unchanged. Then we have the methane farm, which I don't know if Alex or BJ want to talk about that.
I mean,
I'd say Alex, go for it. You definitely know the tank farms better than I do.
Give me a second. I'm trying to. There's like a perfect image that I want for this. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, this is almost buttoned up, except for the reclamation and flaring. It's still being plumbed in. Yeah, they've just started. They put the main propellant line to the trench and started running back the nitrogen. It's finally tied for detanking. So most of by the heat exchangers and pumps areas done. It's this area along the wall and the vaporizers that are still in play.
Yeah, then they just. It looks like they have the pipes in the trench for sure. Well, I guess they would have had to do that before pouring this concrete, but yeah, just need to go to the flare stack.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, I think they only have the pilot plumbed. I don't think they have the main vent plumbed yet from the knockdown tanks or knockout tanks.
And looks like over this last week they also buried or finished with the water line coming from this basically Firex tank. So they have that pipe sticking out here, and then we can, I think, see by the bunker where it comes out. I didn't even look for that earlier, actually. Okay, so they still have the ones that come out in the corner, which we think we're going to go probably to the water farm or somewhere else, possibly.
Yeah, I didn't see if we had a angle into this bunker. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, so it comes out down here and then over there as well.
Yeah, they haven't put the manifold in yet, it looks like. Then, BJ, you were noticing something about the offload points?
Oh yeah, along the methane tank. I forget which one it was, but we had noted that there was two locations in the past, but there's a third kind of offload panel. I think this one on the far right is the one that's newest, or maybe it's the farthest left one. It's a little bit hidden behind the LR here, but there's a top view that you can actually see that there's three, and then that would kind of line up with the fact that there's actually three main manifolds across that rack now.
1, 2, is there a third one right here?
Yep, right there. So we had noted in the past that the two were connected to the smaller pipe. I think the far one on the right is actually the one that's connected to the larger of the three pipes on that rack.
So these are more than just methane offload points then?
It's probably all methane because they're all tied in, it looks like, to the flare stack manifold.
Yeah, that's somewhere that Alex knows a little bit better. I noted that they all went to different pipes. They could all be methane to different places. I just don't. I'm not like I've always said. I don't know the tank farms quite as well with what's in if all those tanks are actually methane or if there's some other commodities in there.
Yeah, because I guess you do have the two vertical methane tanks, so it's possible that each of these has an independent fill line.
They used
I
to.
would imagine these ones would be shared, but this one would probably have its own.
Right now, they have a common outlet. I was looking at the trench side mostly this week, so, and I have to go back because a lot of the small pipes are where they're going obvious. So when they were running them, it wasn't. So, and they're covered. It's a bit of detective work.
Yeah, tons to analyze in here if you're trying to like see all this stuff in detail, figure out how all of these individual systems work. But I think what I like is that it's a little bit more visible than it was previously. Although I would say the methane farm is probably doubled in, I don't know if in complexity, but size. Double the amount of equipment in here for sure.
It's definitely showing a lot of their standardization between the pipe farms.
Yeah.
And tank farms.
So moving away from the methane farm to the cryo test stations, there is a little bit of work going down over here. If I could find the angle. So we did previously think that this cryo station was pretty much ready to go, but it looks like, and I don't know how I've missed this. I thought that this LOX pipe was connected, but it's not. So it looks like I thought all the large cryo tubes that it's running down there, but I don't see it coming back up.
Yeah, I feel like
it.
yeah, and Zach, I feel like it was at one point connected because the other thing I just noticed too is that
bridge line.
Yeah, that bridge line that used to be there has been removed as well.
Yeah. So not quite as finished on this as we thought they were, which is very interesting. Like I can't tell if this is a flange down there, but this hose doesn't look long enough to reach that if it was. So
Yeah, I don't know if this shows it, there is a sort of a manifold underneath on what would be the methane side.
yeah, it's difficult because it's blocked by all these boxes down here.
As the lines come up, you can barely make them out, and then they elbow over.
Yeah, it's blocked from like every view.
Yeah,
but yeah, it looks like that's just the one remaining thing, I guess, on here is just to get those pipes connected. And they are also making progress with the chip stand. Looking through these thumbnails being so tiny is extremely difficult.
Be nice if they have viewers that was made for 2 screens.
Yeah, I do have, sometimes I move the thumbnails to a different screen, but it doesn't necessarily help that much. So just stand by here for a second. I don't think that one's it either. I feel like I should be able to see it in this one. It's at the bottom corner.
Yeah, I think your right side of the screen, you're almost there. Yeah, that one right there, I think is the one that might be a good view.
Okay, cool. There we go. Yeah, so
I feel your pain.
Yeah, there's so many Massey's images. I'm not complaining, but there's definitely a lot. So we can see they're working on the ship cryo stand. They have altered the basically the actuators that are inside of the basically for the TVC mounts. So basically with the RVAX, you only have one actuator going straight up towards that engine position, and then with the center engines, there's a gimbal mount on top of the actuator, and then on each piece of that gimbal, there's the hydraulic actuators connected to it. And so these are a little bit different than what was on the previous version of the stand, which I mean, I guess before they renovated it. So BJ, you pointed this out yesterday. Did you want to get into that?
Yeah, just noticing it was actually kind of a new piece that I had noticed, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who have noticed it and may understand the stand better. But just to the top off of this stand, the center plate, essentially, we can see there's a ram there sticking out the middle of that hexagon. But there's actually we've seen it in the past, but there's a plate with 6 additional, I call them tie rods because I don't think they're actually actuators. That we've always seen, that I think some of us were thinking that was what these 4 actuators were replacing. So I wonder if the testing is changing, but that plate that's off to the side of the stand with those 6 tie rods connect in the middle, and we're probably somehow working in conjunction with each other to maybe test the old TVC points from one single source. I could be wrong on that because I don't really understand how that works, but it was just a kind of an interesting thing that I noticed, that whole assembly had been removed.
Yeah, I don't think I have ever noticed that that there was an actuator down there. Actually, I did. I did notice it, and I was confused what it was. But that makes sense because I don't think I've ever seen this removed. That's very interesting.
So now it looks like they're definitively steering the actuator to add the right force vector into this, but that doesn't have a linkage to the actual actuator points, it seems, on the thrust puck.
Yeah, I would love to pull up a good image of this before the previous configuration for it, but it would probably take me a while to find the good image for it because I remember when I was looking for one for my the episode that I did about this, there was only 1 week where what I wanted was very clearly visible. So I don't think I'm going to be able to find that here currently.
I wish Nick, if she had more time to render the support equipment and model it.
I asked. I was like, "Hey, do you wanna model all of the this test stand?" Nope. Yeah, the other weird thing that they haven't started yet is the actual QD. So we know that they need to retrofit this QD basically the same as what they're doing on the static fire stand, and in reality, this one needs to be done before the static fire stand. So very interesting that they haven't started this, considering that as of this morning, the ship now has its, let's see, nose cone, the Pez dispenser, common dome, and the first section of the LOX tank actually just went in this morning. So I believe there is, I don't know if there's another section before the aft.
Yeah, there's a second tank section. Yep. And then we'll and then we'll get to see that the new transfer tube jig that we've been seeing this week too.
Yeah, so they're getting close, kind of. I'd say they're probably still like 4 weeks away from, maybe less, 3 weeks away from finishing stacking that.
Yeah, assuming that the aft section is ready, since we really haven't seen them do any aft testing, kind of like how B18, the aft was well delayed. And that would be the big question mark on stacking of 39.
And the aft is still in the super crusher. And that pipe down there is the first indication for re-plumbing the QD.
Yeah, this one's weird. Is this, I'm guessing, a purge line?
It's a clip.
Like,
it looks like
it's
a
a split.
Yeah, the center collection goes down to, I think, a 4-inch line.
But this would go to both QDs, right? So that would be like nitrogen.
Yeah. I mean, they have no code on the stand, so.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. It didn't end up where I thought it was going to.
Yeah, and the other thing
that is bigger than any other pipe that comes over here. Sorry, go ahead, BJ.
No, sorry. I was just the one thing that I find interesting is that this additional pipe work that's coming off, kind of adjacent to the QD, towards the base, because we saw the larger pipe last week, and then now there's a couple of additional pipes on the 45 right there. I don't know if that's which line that is relative to the nitrogen or oxygen side. But it almost screams to me that maybe that they're actually working, that the first thing we see on here might be some kind of aft test article that is going to use some secondary fill port.
Yeah, I mean, it would be hilarious if they decided to start using only liquid nitrogen for these tests, and then they just fill both at the same time from this. I doubt they would do that because you kind of need to control what's going to each side. But that would be interesting because the size of it almost looks like it's a cryo line instead of a gas line. Is there another angle of this? I feel like I could probably end up searching for a very long time to try and find that. Anyways, I guess this is probably about the best we can get. Oh, okay, so this actually goes 3 ways. This looks like the one that comes out of the bunker. You know which one I'm talking about? That splits in 3 directions.
There's
This one right here
yeah.
looks pretty similar to that.
I presume fire pipe.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep. The water. And I was really hoping to go back to that same image that I was just on, and I lost it.
Good luck.
Yeah. We can see things from a different angle though. That's fine. Maybe.
Pretty sure BJ and I could
So
keep
difficult.
people entertained on each image you bring up.
Yeah. I did want to talk about the Lox farm a little bit, so that's what I was searching for next. This is kind of close to it. So yeah, they've gotten they've made a little bit of progress on the Lox farm, but not a ton. It seems like. Man, I really want maybe this one. Yeah, so we're still waiting for these new mystery pumps to come in, which I'm guessing are just smaller versions of the ones that they were using at the orbital farm with these drop throughs.
Really funny. So cutouts look just like the base of the pipe waves
Wait, what?
stands. The stands for the pipe racks. They have that same.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. So these could potentially be horizontal pumps instead?
No, I got it. So they've switched to these dual Lox pumps at the Cape. So
Yeah, that's very curious, especially considering they didn't do that for Pad B, which is like only just recently been designed, I guess. Yeah, I would love to get some information on what that's about. And maybe we'll be able to figure it out when they arrive. We'll have like an idea of what, what the advantages are.
Yeah, it's a first very jarringly visual running change they've made.
Yeah. As far as the rest of the farm, all this stuff is basically the same. I don't think they've changed anything down here. The one thing that they have done, which was actually a few months ago, one of the first things they did was these 2 lines used to be bridged together, which was basically making it so that you could only use nitrogen in the in both tanks on the booster. So it seems like they may finally end up using liquid oxygen in the Lox tank. So we'll probably, if I had to guess, start to see full cryo tests for the boosters, which they have only done, I think, a single time here. And it was a partial test at that. So yeah, the subcoolers are mostly plumbed up. There's some confusing stuff going on here as well. All these T's that are coming off everywhere are super confusing.
The bypasses. What's weird is don't have the central valve on this outlet that they normally have. That's
Yeah, so
a quad
this is
vault.
because inlet's on the bottom, right, and then outlet's on the top.
Yep.
And these are bypass, like a.
They connect the inlet with the outlet. They have usually at the 4-valve train. They have the main in, the main out, and the end also has its own bypasses. But
how does that work? Because there's no valves on the inlets on the bottom.
It's basically you can close. There's usually a valve between the outlet, the outlet, and the 2 bypasses, so that you can completely isolate it. But this one doesn't have.
Doesn't exist currently, right?
Yeah. But the other thing that was finally visible this week is the test proof stations now are plumbed in to the new pumps.
Is that the line that goes under here?
It's the top of the frame, or on the side. There's the piece right by you can see it by the vaporizer coming from the top. Yeah, that one. Yep, it goes into
Goes all the way to the
bottom.
test stands.
Yeah, and then the Y underneath for the outlet from the heat exchangers hasn't been connected, but yeah, it looks like they're gonna do the same thing. But they can either
Wait,
send
so
it.
this comes straight from here and up, right?
Yeah, that's the inlet. Yeah. So, and you can see it has an actuator that they can close the flow going to the heat exchangers now. And
Um,
on the very bottom, there's the parallel actuator. The red one, yeah, that one. So they can close off the inlet to the heat exchangers there,
okay.
and then they force the flow down to the bottom. I mean,
Gotcha.
they're sending the flow into the test stands.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
Let's see here. Yeah, this was the image I was trying to get back to earlier,
yeah.
but no need now. So elsewhere, we also have the Booster 18.3 test article, which has only done I think it's done 2 cryo tests, I want to say. Maybe 3. But they're still reconfiguring this for whatever test they're planning on doing with the grid fins. And of course, I'm going to try to find a good angle of that.
You mean those aren't just scaffolding anchors they built? I'm joking.
Yeah, so they do have a scaffolding tower going up. They haven't added anything onto those, the hardware they added, which we're assuming is going to be for testing the grid fins. But they do have scaffolding going up to the top of here. Is there an access hatch right here? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they must be doing some work inside the tank. But as far as getting this set up for that grid fin test, we haven't seen anything related to that, but it may possibly that whatever else we're waiting for might be on the cap, do you guys think?
The cap should have like for the bars for the actuators and stuff. So
Yeah, and these ones are interesting. Did they have these on the previous version?
they added it to the one that's in the 17 or 18 one, whatever that test tank is.
Yeah, this one definitely seems like it feels like they're going to end up using it over on 18.3 without the super crusher initially, but obviously they've designed in all the features for them to put it back in there, presumably that it's actually designed to mate with a version 3 hot stage ring, where the other one would have probably required either an adapter or some kind of modifications.
Right.
Yeah, it's looking like the one of the super crusher is using that plate spreader, and this one will probably use the actual hardware.
Yeah, they've also started to modify this stand as well, which is interesting. Are these almost look similar to the hold downs for the version 3 boosters, but not really at the same time.
They're the transport. There's a workstand hold down clamps, I believe.
Yep, that's pretty much the same design that we saw put into the back left workstation and the center one as well.
In the Megabay.
Mm-hmm. It does seem to have some slight design differences to like what we think we're going to see at the launch pad and what's on the booster transport stands, but they seem they're similar enough.
The stand that brought out the super crusher tank had only 4-point stand had a very similar style to this.
Sorry, which one?
It's it's odd on the stand having those attachments.
Yeah, I was trying to look at the booster cryo stand because they're. I mean, these are much bigger, so
Yeah,
a little bit different there.
This is definitely looks like a work stand. The one with the tanks.
Yeah, that rectangle. I think what Alex was saying with that, the rectangular aft transport stand that's at the build that's next to Megabay 1 has the same similar clamp design.
Okay. Yeah, this was actually a really good image right here. So it looks like those balls will probably get added on.
Yeah, I think they're actually sitting right next to them. The plates that get installed with the ball on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are like low pro versions of the ones on the other stand, which is weird.
Yeah, it looks like it's just got a little handle and a pin that it's definitely designed for smaller items that aren't being transported.
Do you think these could be like manually released as well too?
That's what I see. I mean, it looks like there's a handle on the top and then just a manual pin that you pull the pin and then you just by hand you pull it out of the socket on the side of the booster shaft.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And then I don't see any way to like lock it down.
Well, I think that's what the top point is. You've got the pivot point down at the base, and then where that handle meets the top of the white, that's a locking pin or a bolt or whatever that holds and that keeps it locked in place.
So fully manual clamps. So I'm assuming they'll probably replace all of these, right? Do they have more laying around?
Depends on what they're using there. I mean, obviously in Megabay they only use half of the clamp locations, are only 10 arms for the 20 points. So depending on what they're using here, it could just have 5. I mean, like we saw, there's only 4 contact points on the aft transport stand.
Right. Love seeing all this new stuff. I'm glad that there's finding another use for this. There's a bunch of equipment back there as well too, which I think might be somehow related to this, but I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, that's all rods.
Yep, that's all the new rods for the second cap.
Okay, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, there's even some different lengths ones over on the right behind 18.3. There's like some ones that are like only a third the length of the rest, where we've only seen the one size in the Super Crusher, which might tell something about Yep.
And then I guess the smaller rods are up top.
Well, I think in the Super Crusher they're all the same, but there's some obviously smaller pieces here that maybe 18.3. Well, we know 18.3 is slightly shorter than 18.1. So over on the new Crusher, they may needed some slightly different size, but obviously you'd want to standardize a majority of your rods for universal use.
Lots of fun activities coming up soon. What else do we have at Massey's? So they're still running all of the new electrical. They don't really seem to be making too much progress on that. It looks like they've just started it everywhere and they haven't actually pulled it through. But pretty much everywhere where they have been doing that, I think there's another spot back here. Yeah, you can just see all that wire back there. They haven't actually pulled it through. Or this may actually be pulled through.
Yeah, that might be pulled through. I know over by that building over at the entrance, there's some giant figure of 8s stacks that have been there for like a week or two waiting to be pulled into the conduits.
Right.
Dusty cable pulls, not fun.
Yeah, on that note, down here where all of this is running to, we haven't seen much progress on that. Although it's probably going, I mean, everything's on the inside, so you wouldn't really see much anyways.
I think they just installed the transformers on the left side.
These ones?
There's, high voltage step down and the big gray one, yeah.
Let's see. Anything else at Massey's?
unless we want to stay here for 2 more hours, I'll say no.
Awesome. Well, Matt, do we have any questions or donations to touch on? Oh, yeah. Can you guys hear him this time?
Chat or us?
Interesting. Joe just said there's still a 0x0 for Matt on the stream. Yeah, which is odd since we can all hear Matt.
Well, we can work around this, and I can ask the questions. I don't know where they are, though. That works for me. So just stand by for a second, everyone. Alrighty. So first question from Frank. How does Starbase get their potable water? I don't see the black water tanks on each property anymore. All their water comes from a neighborhood in Brownsville. I may actually even be able to show this. Let's see.
Well, don't they also get a lot of their potable water out of the 2 big water tanks that are also I think isn't one of them connected to the fire suppression systems, and the other one is for potable, I think.
Well, I think they mean like where it's actually delivered from. Gotta move from Vandenberg over to, oh gosh.
Somebody was looking at Slick 6.
Yeah, I was. How do I, okay. That's really annoying. And I had a lot of stuff turned off on this. Why won't it just like turn back to reset north? There we go. Alrighty, so let's see if I can do this without borders. Wow. That was super easy. Okay, so Highway 4, play parking lot, and the last neighborhood. I think it's one of these neighborhoods down here. It may be this one, I believe. Oh, or this one. There's a fire hydrant like right there. And literally the water trucks pull up to that fire hydrant and then drive all the way back up to Starbase. So they basically just fill from that fire hydrant in the neighborhood. Cool. Let's see. Next question. Is Massey's ready for B18 Cryo? I would say no, based on the fact that they're still working on the blocks pumps, and as far as we can tell, they still have some more work to do on the actual the plumbing on the cryo stand as well too. So yeah, that I think that question was asked before we covered that topic. Let's see here. Next question. Are they preparing the static fire mount for the new version with the 2 QDs? I think we answered that one as well too. From Ulrich Mueller, will the roof of the bunker serve as a landing pad in case the clamping system fails accidentally during an engine test? I mean, I suppose part of the ship will land on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not an intentional landing pad though. Let's see. Tommy 36. Hopefully I said that right. It might be Tommy. Are they going to finish the concrete on the static fire ramp, or why haven't they finished it yet? On the static fire ramp?
It's a maintenance. I thought they
Um,
fixed the maintenance platform. The ramp.
yeah, are they talking about the roof thing, the sliding platform?
That's. Wait, they
Well,
picked up
this
that
has been
pile of.
repaired. I guess I can cover all bases here. So this has been repaired. If there, as far as if you're talking about anything in the trench, I don't think there's anything that they need to do down there. And then the other ramp, I suppose you could be talking about, is the ramp leading up to the test stand. And if you're talking about doing concrete in this area, I don't think they'll do that. They're clearly building a berm down here currently, so basically rebuilding the same berm that was already there. So I don't think this will be concrete.
How did we miss to clean the deck of the service platform? Sorry, squirrel.
This?
Yeah.
What about it? Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Hey, we
Yeah, I
should
think
complain
somebody
about
didn't.
things
Yeah,
more
somebody
often.
did notice it last night during show and tell that they finally cleaned it.
Yeah, I mentioned it. I mentioned that it was annoying me that they had not cleaned it after all this time. But the same thing was true down in the bottom of the trench. Like they left a lot of debris in the bottom of the trench for a very long time.
Everything. Yeah.
Let's see here. So, hey, Chaos King. Chaos. I don't know if that's supposed to be Chaos King. Is it possible? / would it make sense to perform full booster cryo tests with the new test stand? I think I covered that one as well too. So, yeah, they're changing up the plumbing. It really doesn't have anything to do with the cryo stand itself. It's about the tank farm, and it seems like they've reconfigured the propellant distribution system in order to allow them to perform full cryo tests. So the stand itself could always do it. It's just the the pump manifold, the valve manifold. And now that has been reconfigured, I believe they should be able to do that. Yeah, this manifold down here. Let's see. And also from, I'm guessing, Chaos King, when do you expect B18.1 rollback? What are you guys' opinions on that? I have no idea.
They didn't build a super crusher just for
it. Yeah, I mean, one of the things, so it did have an issue on the last time they tested it where it basically ended up popping. Basically, you had a lot of like nitrogen flowing out of the side of it, which came from one of the locations where the actuator enters through the side of the tank. And I don't think we ever can really like see that area. Even when it's looking at it directly from that side, I don't think you can really like see the actual the actuator itself. So we don't know if they're making repairs to the tank or anything like that. And if so, they may not be actually finished with that testing yet.
Yeah, and that's something we didn't,
it's
and that's something, Zach, we didn't talk about earlier. Some things we did notice this week is that they've added some structure around the diagonal access ports earlier in the week. But there is actually one leg where the cap actuator and the two angled actuators have been removed. Well, not removed, but disconnected. I think it's the one that's right in.
Yeah.
One to the right. This picture probably shows it. So it's a question mark on whether they're preparing to remove it or if this is just a removal to do some additional repairs to do further testing. Because in this one, you can see those 3 horizontal braces, 2 above and 1 below the port. Those have been added to all 5. All 5 of those have been added. Yeah, there's 2. Yeah, there's 2 there, 1 down there. Those are new in the last week.
added all the way around.
Yeah, everyone that we could see from ground images has added, so I speculate that all 5 have them now.
So that would suggest the failure potentially happened around the perimeter of that
That's
housing.
That's my assumption. Either that, or it was in the bellows of that other one, and perhaps this is a mitigation so that they can continue testing without these ports also. Essentially, that all 6 ports are being reinforced based off of the failure on that one.
That makes sense. Cool. Yeah, I guess that is our final question. I did just see a donation come in from Todd. All aboard the Get Matt Fixed Fund. Yeah, Alex is doing a lot of work, both handling questions and running the stream in the background. So, mistakes are bound to happen. And I think last time we had the issue before the show where his kids chimed in at the intro, and that's one of the main things that he sets himself up for, is for him to be able to talk to us, but you guys can't hear him. So I think he just has to undo whatever that is.
Joe had mic issues for a while. Maybe him and Matt could get together.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Yeah, and since he can't, and I'll just jump in too and just scroll. I scrolled the chat and saw a number of memberships were donated as well, and I'll just scroll whatever the chat history shows. But Sharpie donated 1 RGV aerial photography gift membership, so thank you. Scrolling some more, I know RGV actually did as well, but Jonathan Drew also became an RGV flight supporter. Let's see, what else do we have? RGV gifted 5 gift memberships. Still scrolling. Let's see, who else? I think those were all the gift memberships. There were a number of milestone ones too, but I'm going to skip them since they're hard to read through in that way. But I think that's it. And Sharpie just went clackety clack, $2 donation.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody who's donated. Really appreciate that. And I guess we'll go ahead and move on to Sanchez, where we do have some great news, I think. This is something that we mentioned last week that we were waiting for, and I think we finally have seen it arrive. So we see the down here, all of this stuff that's down here basically arrived this week. And based on the pattern of where these are laid out, it's pretty clear that this is the same pattern for the hold-down clamps that we saw on the static fire stand. So these are those 6 basically pedestals for the hold-down clamps. And I think this could be one of 2 things. So it possibly is a ship transport stand, but if it is, that would be very interesting because this is way, way bigger, way heavier duty than the previous transport stands, and it's actually thicker, I guess you could say, than the booster transport stands. I have been wanting to see like a heavier duty ship transport stand for a while now, but I do think there is a small chance that this may also be a second static fire test stand. So I'm curious what you guys think about that, because the size is, and I have an old image right here of what that looked like. So that would be these 6 pieces right here. I think there's a possibility that this is actually another static fire test stand, a new version of it.
The rectangular spacing leads a lot to that because the other stand is more rectangular.
I mean, I could definitely see that being a possibility. I didn't really think about them building a second one, but yeah, I think your points on it being a little bit stronger build so far would lend some plausibility to that.
Yeah, because the leg spacing on the stand is what I was getting at.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, sorry, leg spacing, are you talking about these ones?
No, if you look at the current stand, the crab legs is a rectangle. They're not a square.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Yeah. And just looking at the way it was spaced there, where you have the 2 long sides and the 2 closer sides, that's what popped into my head right now. You said static fire stand. That's what the squirrel did.
Yeah. And this is interesting the way this is built, because it seems like this reminds me of like Legos almost, or maybe how
Mhm.
you'd build it if it was like 3D printed, where the next panels drop down onto here, and then
Yeah,
Yeah.
you basically weld them around these pegs, I guess you can call them.
yeah, and I don't think they're still gonna have a. Even the first one was a perfect ring before they started adding the asymmetry to make it rectangular for the legs. I mean, the fact that those 8 round pedestals are there, it rings out to me kind of like the mounting points for the elevating stands on the transport stands. That this may not actually be pedestals for it, but I don't know.
Those 8 spacing, I think, match at the pad they just built at next to pad B, the staging pad.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, that would basically make it the same as the booster, right? Booster transport stand.
Yes.
The eight pedestals that they use for that kind of standardize the booster and ship, because I think the ship has different a different layout currently. Where's the
Yeah, that staging pad definitely. The embeds that were built into it really only support the booster transport stand and the static fire stand leg configuration. So it would make sense to whatever they do for a ring stand portion of a ship, that they would make the base of it be uniform in how the legs are set. Plus, the orientation of the old legs was always the reason why the SPMTs had to go in on an angle. To be able to lift them straight off would be much better too.
Yeah, I was looking for this actually over in the corner. I didn't realize that they started scrapping it finally. So this is basically the last ship transport stand in existence, I think.
There's a couple over in Massey's still, but the last one,
Yeah.
Sanchez.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. I'm kind of hoping it's a regular transport stand, although I do think it's necessary to have 2 static fire stands, because you may want to static fire ships immediately after they return from landing. So like within the next few days after that, similar to how they basically do booster static fire tests within a week after the launch. So I mean that would make sense that you would probably want to do that as well too, and then having a separate static fire stand, maybe one that's basically stationed at the launch site, so you can put the ship back down on top of it and then send it to Massey's after. I mean, honestly, for the ships, every transport stand may as well. I mean, they're kind of big, like to use them as static fire stands, but you might as well. I mean, there's no difference in transporting a ship on a regular transport stand versus the static fire stand. So, in my opinion, it makes more sense to have the ship static fire stand or ship transport stands be identical to the static fire stand, pretty much. So that'll be interesting to see something like that. But if these pedestals show anything, then that may not necessarily be the case, because the static fire stand only has 4 mounting points for the pedestals. So yeah, this will be very interesting and something to keep our eyes on. We haven't seen any other components for this arrive yet, although these are for something else.
Yeah, I
Those were
think,
the
I
old-
think, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, those were for some of the other things we're building.
Yeah, I mean, the weird thing is they were building something else down here last week, and all of that seemed to disappear. They were using components like this, and I don't know where that went.
Yeah, we didn't get a view. I'm wondering if the next set of 3 have been built and they're in that painting tent potentially. But yeah, those are just the engine access platforms for Megabay 2 lifts. I can't imagine they finished 3 and managed to sneak them into Megabay 2 and put them on the right front or something like that. But maybe.
Still on the fence about that being the case, because they looked different when I compared them last week. They looked a bit different. I don't have a good image to show this week unless I pull up last week's image. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on that. And they had the
So,
panels on the side of it too, which is they don't have in the Megabay 2. So
well, my wild for a full crow entree is they're part of the ship QD arms heads, but
the big QD arm.
the end of it, but
Nah.
the claw, yeah, they're not heavy duty enough.
Definitely not.
I want some
Um,
really. I need a crow entree. So
the what do we call this? The raceway jig for I think the booster. Looks like they painted it. This thing is rather simple. I thought there was more that gets added onto this.
that's
Yeah, the previous ones were very basic looking too. There might be a little bit of something, but
it looks like there's that stop sign heading on shape. That's that old load spreader that will never go away. I think
yeah, I think you're right.
it's fooled me far too often.
Since somebody's going to probably ask, there were a lot more Cybertrucks delivered this week as well too. So like you literally can't park over here at all because it's all Cybertruck parking. I haven't counted them, but it's pretty much impossible to know now because they're scattered around the site everywhere. So pretty much difficult to find a picture where there's not a Cybertruck visible. But that's kind of cool the way that they are basically making all of their fleet into Cybertrucks. Yeah, I'm surprised that they're all still just sitting there. You think that they would be like leasing them out or I don't know.
Have you
Anyways,
worked at a large
moving on.
company? How slow that's when they roll out new laptop size?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, with my last company, I mean, when they got new vehicles, they basically sat in the yard for like two months at a time, and then they slowly started giving them out. So,
Yeah, it's
so we also have the engine workstation for the static fire stand, which they added this another level onto this, basically a identical hexagon on top of this, and it's now been painted for some reason. Like it makes sense to paint it. It doesn't make sense to paint it now because they haven't added the panels on top yet. So they're basically going to have to like shave off the paint when they add the panels on top. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Looks good though. Let's see. The OLM arms or the doors are still here. None of them have been installed yet. The ship QD arm is still being worked on, and I haven't looked at this too closely. I don't know if they've added anything this week.
the swivel joints are being attached as we speak up on the top crossbar. Yep,
Is there?
right.
I'm guessing there's an angle that shows it better.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty clear there, but yeah, I think there were some better ones.
Dang it. Sanchez is way bigger than you think it is sometimes. Like you expect things to be in sight when you click on a certain image and it's not. Like I completely lost it.
Yeah, 4 to the left maybe. It's not quite as zoomed in, but the angle I think shows it nicely. Yeah, so up by where the the boom lifts are up there, up on it's the vertical piece there. So he's got one right there. There's one just to the left of the other boom lift, and then the other one's up by the hinge that's at the bottom of the image. Up.
Yeah.
That last image may have actually been the better view because you can the sun's kind of shining off them a little bit better.
Right.
Now, which one that is?
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
Yeah. So lots of progress on this, and I think given the massive amount of changes that we've seen on this compared to the current arm, I fully expect that they will remove that. What do you guys think? Do you think they would remove the arm or make upgrades in place?
Remove it because the actuator mounting area is completely different. They cut up and they fixed the one for 39A as well, so that should come down.
Yeah, I'm in agreement on that. I think it'll come down for all the retrofitting.
Yeah, and that the crane is currently being reconfigured, or it has been reconfigured. For some reason, it hasn't risen back up yet. But I don't know if the LR 11,000 can do this.
Yeah,
Boom.
I think it can, but we don't really know what it weighs, so it's kind of, there's a question mark on it for sure.
If it's not slewing, and because it's fairly vertical, it should be able to.
They have a
still
power boom
won't.
configuration for that.
They do, but never
Yeah, I
I
seen
don't
one.
think that'll be necessary.
When they installed the one on Tower 1, I think that was just in a time when Kong was there, Franken Crane, and I think it's just that was the crane that was set up at the time. I don't think they were needing the capabilities of how that was configured for that particular lift.
Right. Okay. So I guess continuing on, what else do we have at Massey's? In the scrapyard, there's some interesting things in there, I think.
Yes.
I kind of already covered that, the ring wall being scrapped. This is
Test tank 16. Well, what's left of it.
okay.
Yeah, it should be, that's the aft section.
Yeah, and they've moved all of so they've been installing a lot of new work platforms in Megabay 1 and 2, and most of that stuff was by the I probably have to go over to a different image. So it was over in this corner as they were installing it, and they've moved all of that over to the scrapyard, which doesn't mean it's going to be scrapped. It just means that it seems like they're trying to get it either out of the way or they're kind of done with that for now. But yeah, all of that stuff has been moved over here. These platforms right here specifically. I think these ones are for boosters, right?
No, those are the those will go in Megabay 2. Those are what I call the intermediate platforms. But when we look at Megabay 2, essentially there's every other floor is either a permanently installed structure or these ones. So right now they're working on the permanent ones, and then these will split all the other ones in half eventually.
So would this go in the front?
Those are for the front.
The back
those are for the front right. All three other stations in Megabay 1 in Megabay 2, sorry, have these. These are for the new stand that they're still building out the actual frame portion that's attached to the building itself.
Right.
But you can actually see the curved pieces here farther over are actually parts of the permanent ones farther to the left. They've been building, but the two curved ones there above the boosters are the same thing. They're essentially the curved portions of the non-intermediate, if I use my terminology, but they've been working heavily on the first stage of access in Megabay 2.
This is weird because this looks like something that goes against the back wall versus in a corner.
Yeah, the two corner ones had the exact same panel. Essentially, the little cutout that's in the middle of that panel wraps around one of the support columns that's in the middle of that goes up the back.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the gray structure at the top of frame shows that one kind of shows the fixed structure.
Yeah, and the gray stuff is all actually Megabay 1 for the booster access, but it's essentially it's the sister to all the white stuff that is on the right hand side. Boosters, they've been working both bays simultaneously roughly in the same area.
Yeah, I was just saying it probably shows a curve a little better than.
Yep.
The quarter,
these are all the corner ones. So yeah, It's the same design. They got the little flaps that slide down to get closer to the vehicles once they're on the stands and all that stuff.
Yeah. See, this stuff right here is interesting to me because I would expect that they would want to do all of this for the Gigabay as well. Like, instead of saving it for final outfitting, like while they have these tower cranes, that they would also install all of this stuff. And on that note, we may as well go over there unless there's anything else at Sanchez to talk about.
Yeah, I mean the only thing left there would be over in the crane yard for the crane fans. The new Tadano that replaces Grover has arrived. The cab is over farther to the left next to SQR3, but all the boom sections are in the crane yard.
That's a good one.
One to the right. Yeah, there you go. It's up by the SPMTs, by the white ring stands, to the top of the image. The other SPMTs above SQR3, the adapter.
Oh, up here. Right there.
There's the crane base right there.
So that's the same model as Grover?
No, this is a Tadano A7450, I think it is. Essentially, it's an equivalency, but instead of a Grove, it's a Tadano.
And I'm guessing all of these are for that as well too.
Yeah, it's got there to the left of your cursor is the wing side, the wing supports that Grover had, and then to the right we can see they have enough boom for a luffing jib. Right now over your cursor is the luffing jibs. The luffing struts are on top of that piece right there.
Tons of SPMTs.
I was looking at that last night. They look like the old booster cryo stand adapter plates.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out for the life of me either.
Yeah, speaking of SPMTs, and as we go over to Massey's, I don't know if sometimes it feels like people from SpaceX watch this show occasionally. So I will pitch the idea here that so basically over the last week we've been watching Lab Padres Rover 1 camera a lot. I'm actually watching it as we speak right now on my left screen because there's just a lot of steel flying in the air right now. But I think, I don't know, we're just annoying people in general. But the process for offloading steel and, all of that has been painful to watch, and to say the least. So one of the things that they have kind of been doing here is using the same cranes that are doing all the assembling, which I guess there's only, technically this tower crane right here and the LR 1300 have been doing all the work pretty much, but they're also offloading all of the steel, which is crazy to me. So you have like trucks bring in one column at a time. So if you think about how many columns there are here, each one of those columns represents one truckload. So it's interesting to me though, because they have those SPMTs in Sanchez, which aren't going to be doing anything until Booster 18 is ready for its cryo test. So I think it would be interesting to use one of those SPMTs to bring up a ton of steel at the same time, because you could fit quite a lot of steel onto that. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and look at that staging yard.
Yeah, just the distance. Just the only thing with that is that the distance doesn't make any sense to me, because that's like a 4-hour SPMT drive from Brownsville.
Yeah, you just do it at 2 a.m. But
Yeah.
you could probably fit. Where's a good pile? I mean, I guess the thing that makes this a little bit difficult is all the gusset plates on here. But I feel like you could fit, even if you laid them out like this, you could take all of this up at one time. So you could do, 1 4-hour trip eliminates like 20 truckloads right there. I don't know. Seems necessary. But while we're here, what they have been doing basically is whether it's the forklifts, I think it's the forklifts and the cranes together, have been loading up these trailers every day. And so then
the tractor in the middle of the frame has one of the columns loaded to illustrate your point really well.
This one.
Yep.
Yeah, so they basically load these trailers up every day, and then the tractors just come and connect to them and move them up to the build site, and then come back and switch to another trailer. This was around 3-ish p.m. I think when this flyover happened. So you can see all of these trailers were empty because these are basically what they took up to the site that day. So going back over.
Yeah, the logistics is definitely having some growing pains right now. I feel like maybe in another week or so they'll get things, because even the organization of this site has really changed since last week. And I'm wondering if last week even a lot of the stuff was just staged on how it got here, and they're still trying to like collate everything to how it needs to go to the launch site for the proper installation order.
Right.
I think once the base plate columns are installed, then they'll be able to fit probably 2 or 3 on a normal trailer. The base plates are, yeah, those are intermediate columns, and then the end ones.
Right. Yeah, so they've made some great progress this week, though, as you can see. All of the stuff, I'm going to get a straight on image. All of the columns in the middle were basically done by the LR1300, which is basically doing those in between building the tower cranes. So as of this morning, this tower crane now has its boom installed. I think it looks like I'm just looking at Sentinel camera right now. I think it's basically probably waiting for what's that final inspection they do, BJ?
Yeah, just the commit. I've just been calling it the inspection. They haven't run the hook lines yet. I'm actually watching it on Rocket Ranch cam right now. It looks like they have yet to pull the hooks, but it is self-supporting the boom right now on its own.
BJ, I would like to let you know that there's a crane operator climbing up Tower Crane 1 right now.
Well, there was also a tower crane operator in that crane for the last 3 days, and it hasn't lifted a single thing. So he's been getting a lot of pay for nothing.
I think everybody could do that job right now. Well, maybe not climbing.
He's a slow climber for sure. I'm watching him. But yeah, so basically all the work has been done by this Tower Crane 2 and the LR1300. So as of now, this one is basically working on this partition wall, we've been calling it. Maybe I have a better angle of this because in the live chat, there's been a lot of questions on just like steel placement, I guess. But you can see that. So they're basically, I think what they're going to do is work in a counterclockwise clockwise rotation here. So this is as far as this crane can. Well, I think it can actually reach all the way over here technically, but it won't. So basically, this is the edge of this crane's workspace. So they're building starting with the partition walls. So they got the columns up, and then you can see the diagonal beams being installed here. So there's seven diagonal beams on each of these. So 4 on the bottom, and then 3 on the second level.
Yeah, this particular one. Yeah, this particular one only had 6. I was actually comparing the Roberts Road wrong yesterday, where there's 8. Well, there's actually 12 total for the 2 levels. Each level has 6. There's no 5 on each level. Sorry, I said 7 in chat yesterday, but that was because I was thinking there was another 2 on the sides, not just the ends. But essentially, on the right frame, the second one from the right and the far left one have one going on the short gap, and then there's a long gap in this one. Essentially, that right hand quadrant. Every bay has one brace on it. And then there's only one brace on the far end that goes left and right, but not front and back, right to left, not the back way. It's hard to describe left and right in this orthogonal view.
Yeah, but when you look at these, you can easily tell where they're going to go. These gusset plates kind of show you where those diagonal beams are going to go. So you have one coming up from the bottom and then going up to the top. So it's like a K. Basically, and you can see those on this side as well too. But as of right now, this morning, they appear to have all of the lateral beams on the first level finished, and I think they've even put the little cross beams that are for the floor.
Yeah, and
or the floor platform.
the corrugated steel's up there too.
Yeah, so they have down here, you can see all of the corrugated steel that makes up the floor, so they'll pour concrete on top of that after. But I'm pretty sure this first level, they're, I think, up there laying out that corrugated steel right now, I believe. And then they're also currently putting in the beams for this top level right now. So yeah, I would say right now it almost seems like it takes about 2 full days per partition wall. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 more partition walls on this side. So this was like 8 days basically, plus maybe 1 day each for the back wall platforms. If I had to guess, there's
Wow, those ones won't have a permanent. They may have some temporary close off beams.
You're right.
But yeah, this side does not have the actual corridor, the corridor platform frame, however you wanted to call it. I've actually kind of stopped calling any of this walls because wall kind of means that it may have a cladding on it. I've started almost just calling them partition frames and whatnot to try and not be descriptive too far.
So basically, a week from now, during the next show, they'll probably be at the same stage down here in the corner, if I had to guess.
Yeah, we can only hope that they'll get around and then start getting into some of the other quadrants a little bit more. I would imagine that latest crane to get assembled, hopefully it'll get its inspection done hopefully tomorrow or Monday probably, and start working on Tuesday with everything going good.
Yeah, and hopefully this crane joins the action because it's kind of just been sitting there basically. So yeah, I mean it's really odd, and I don't know if there's a reason for this, because it may have something to do with just keeping space in this aisle for offloading, but you can have one truck offloading here and another one offloading there. So basically they come in through this side and then offload the steel into the middle over here. So it's interesting that they haven't started doing that, and I believe they will soon start doing this on the other side too, because you can see the concrete that they've poured all around the perimeter to allow those trucks to come in. So I think they are, for the most part, keeping the middle aisles. I believe they'll probably do most of their staging in the middle.
Yeah, one of the things all of the red bike rack fencing that they've been putting around the perimeter, I think I don't think we'll ever see the actual trucks bring inside the perimeter or inside the footprint, and they'll just drive around the outside. And now that upper left-hand corner, like you said, has been finished, because that was just poured, I think, the morning of the flyover. So they haven't really had that through lane until now.
Yeah, I guess the only thing is that they can't, like, even if they pull in through here, they can't circle back out. Like, they have to basically back out to leave, I think.
Right now they can't. I think once this concrete's cured enough in the corner, I think they can just drive straight out Joanna or come.
You think they can make this turn?
Oh yeah. With empty trailers, it definitely can. I mean, some of the columns would have a hard time maybe getting through there with the extended trailers, but I think they can make that line.
Yeah, I've been watching them when they come across the street. Like they basically have been pretty much coming into this lane when they turn out. So this is about how much space they need right here. So I guess maybe they could possibly make that turn if they start up against the wall. Yeah, but yeah, then they should be exiting out through this side, I'm guessing.
That would be my hope. I mean, that would prevent them from getting two-way traffic along the parking garage. I mean, they could maybe come that way and come straight down. But I sure hope they start circling the whole area to get in and out instead of doing this backing out and whatnot.
Yeah. But lots of progress. Curious, do you guys know what these are?
Bolt hardware is what I'm thinking it is.
Just in buckets?
Yep. They have not been carrying them. They've been using a 2-wheel dolly to move them around, so they have some weight. And in a 5-gallon bucket of bolts, I would imagine is too heavy to carry.
Yeah, for sure.
You can actually see by that staged steel, there's a whole bunch of them sitting right there, and then even closer to to the left of them is where all the bolting plates were brought. There's 2 crates of plates that were brought in that are all essentially the mending plates to make the connections between the columns and the beams.
I don't think I'm seeing those, but
yeah, if you were to zoom in, the steel that's right in the middle of the bay to the top left there, kind of, there's little pieces of plate steel down a little bit farther,
down
a little more, right there to the left of your hand. Those are all just flat plate steels that attach the flanges. None of the beams don't actually connect directly to the columns. They butt up to them with a mending plate.
Oh, so they have to add these on before twisting them?
That's half of the reason of why they stage and don't go straight into place, because they have to add bolts and mending plates and all that stuff.
Interesting. That makes sense. Something that I feel like could be done at the staging yard.
Yeah,
I don't.
Except for you'd have to secure every bolt, and then you'd have to unbolt them, because you wouldn't be able to put loose bolts and transport them. They'd all fall out on the way.
Right, that makes sense. Let's see. Anything else from Gigabay that y'all want to mention?
I don't think so.
Hey,
the
Zach.
one thing, we did have the one thing that noticed that there is the oddball crane that it appears there's only one TG 2300 and the other 3 are TG 1900s for the crane nerds out there. It's not 2 and 2, it's 3 and 1.
Hey, Zach, I'm going to take over for questions for Matt. I got a few Gigabay questions if you'd like me to ask those now, or we can wait.
Yeah, sure.
Corrugated metal decking? No.
Chaos King would like to know, when do you expect the first cladding to be installed on the Gigabay?
At least,
I personally think it's going to be a while, a very long time.
I agree. A couple months, 3, 4.
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, the areas with cladding, let's see, is not as many as you would think. I would say most of the cladding on the building is going to be on this side that we're looking at, actually. This will have the most amount of cladding on it, because on this side, you may potentially have doors down here. I'm not sold on that, but I think there may be doors down here. So most of if they are doors, then most of your cladding would go basically in between these columns on the backside. And those columns don't have any tabs on them for adding the what do you call them? The Z-girts, basically, for where they mount the cladding. So there's none of that is on there currently. So it's going to be interesting because I believe the columns for both Megabays had those tabs on them for the Z-girts, which these do not. So yeah, it almost seems like they're gonna be sitting there welding on those tabs at some point. Like you should see them all along here, tabs going up and down them, but they're just not there. So I have a feeling, I mean, that would take forever unless they weld them directly to the beams, the columns, which I don't think they'll do.
They did that for the glass wall on the factory. They welded all the tabs for the glazing.
Yeah, that's going to take forever.
Curtain walls.
And in the front, your cladding is basically going to be like in a T right here across, and then in the corner. But then you have your doors here. So, wait.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. This is the doorway right here, basically. And I was going to say something else about this, but I forgot.
Yeah, and just another thing on the cladding. One of the things that for anyone who also follows the flyovers from Roberts Road, there's no tabs even on any of the steel there, even on some of the exterior walls that we see going up to the second level already at that site. So it is definitely going to be interesting to see if they do a Z-girt with a soft panel, or if it's some kind of like larger modular panel that has a limited amount of attachment points that are added later.
Wall.
Yeah.
Sorry, can't. I mean,
What do you think the chances of like precast concrete panels?
how dare you?
Feels awfully heavy to me, but I don't know.
Yeah. It would be pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, they did that on that bunker, but no, I think they'll just
the bunker's not almost 500 feet tall either.
yeah, it'd be awful. But no, I think they'll do some sort of curtain wall, sort of like they did with the bunker, but not made out of steel, concrete.
Right. One other thing I guess that it's just an idea that I was just thinking of, which I'm sure BJ has already thought of. So these workstations should be wide enough or long enough, I guess, for 2 ring sections, right? So I suppose with that, if you have a garage door here or something like that, your turntable could be here, and then the ring stand should be able to fit in there with it, right? So then you lift the vehicle section off of the turntable and then pick up the other ring section and then put it back on.
Yeah, that's kind of the manufacturing process I have in my mind. I think in that outer level, kind of where we will see we don't have a corridor at the lower levels. I think once we get up high enough, we'll probably have a perimeter on this wall as well. But obviously, anything that would be there would probably need to be above whatever stacking heights there are. So it could be that it's only all the way up at the roof or not existent at all. It could be just these partitions all the way to the roof.
Welcome to.
I feel like it would make more sense to start seeing them on the next level. Like basically, they only need to come up to the height of the tallest door on the Star Factory, right?
And they'd have to raise up to the level of the turntable.
Yeah, that would be the question. That would be the curiosity of whether that second column has an addition for, or maybe when we get up to the third level, second 2.5, 3 levels up, maybe we'll get to see where maybe there is an access corridor, but maybe it's only half the depth or something like that to allow that extra space for lifting of double or vehicles.
So would this almost imply that these are there's 6 stacking stations and 18 workstations?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even Niall and I had put out a graphic last week, and I agree with it in general. But I think what happens is that the Star Factory half of the building, because there's no crossover aisle, is all manufacturing. Essentially, you've got the turntables, and then once they're fully stacked, they go to the other side for other outfitting, everything that happens before cryo, and then essentially, like in a workflow, they would leave this side on a cryo stand, go to Massey's, get cryoed, and then when they come back, they go into the near side where they get where engine install, refurbishment of reflown articles, things like that. So that would be kind of a logical separation for the two that wouldn't require a vehicle to go across the aisle.
Right. So stacking, then move from there over onto the basically pre-cryo workstations, and then these are pre-flight, post-flight.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been pushing that once.
Interesting. Yeah, that's gonna be cool, especially once they because really, I mean, I guess that's the only way it could work, because you can't, if there's no stacking stations on this side, you can't take a fully stacked vehicle and move it this direction. You'd have to basically come out through the front door and you turn back in here. So yeah, I guess it would make sense to just this be the return from Massey's / outlet to the launch site, and this is to Massey's, basically.
Yeah, and then kind of going even farther into even more speculation, like when a second phase of Gigabay replaces the Megabays, essentially you could almost have then a true transfer aisle, essentially where essentially you have your phase A, make another phase B that's there, but have a transfer lane that actually gets you from the left aisle to the right aisle for the long-term use of the bay, if that's what ends up happening.
Do you not think that just keeping the same pattern all the way up would make sense, though?
I think it would make sense, but I also could see there being some legitimate reason to still be able to, if you were to have just a breezeway lane between the two sets of 24 to allow a pathway across.
Right.
Maybe not necessary, but I could see it as that way you would never you could get over to the other side without having especially once you get into heavy reuse of boosters and whatnot, it could be that only one quadrant is stacking, and the other 3 quadrants of a double gigabay would be reuse, and then they would even more have a reason to get from a left aisle to a right aisle.
Right. That makes sense.
Or they'll do what they're doing with Falcons, and they'll have a a specialty made refurb structure. Rolling back to the
Yeah, I
factory
feel like
might not be efficient.
this is interesting. I wonder like how easy it is for nose cone sections or whatever to make the turn out of here to go into one of these bays, or if it's like guaranteed it's got to come here.
No, it's. I mean,
the 39 made it to Megabay 2 without a problem turning the 90 degrees. So I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, just that small article is only going to be on like a 10 axle SPMT. So it's not like you got to try and maneuver, turn a 16 or a 24 axle.
Right.
They'll probably be on powered stands.
That too. I mean, they'll be on probably just on those dollies and have just the little carts, the powered carts to move them around.
Yeah.
Right.
Disconnect from one side, attach it to the other. Yes, I think Zack may slowly be coming around to team side load.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it makes sense now. It's a lot of doors.
I don't.
Well,
I think that
and it could just
be sealed.
Yeah, it could be sealed and just open. That's the one thing that I've kind of come around to some suggestions too. It may not actually be doors. It may just be an opening.
Like an opening that, you mean like if they
a doorway without a door, just a cased opening essentially, and just have it be a pass through that it's open to the factory.
Right. Assuming they bridge it.
Yeah, and have a cover over the top that's totally sealed in, just an in between to allow it to be fully sealed into there, and then you could get rid of the doors. Heck, you could get rid of all the cladding, and you could be able to go straight through some of those openings, maybe where there's not bracing in the walls.
Right. That would make sense. Is there anything we need to touch on the bays? I don't think we can really see much this week. They are still.
Did Todd have any other questions about Gigabay? I don't know if there was a second question.
Yeah, actually, since you guys have been talking, the questions are pouring in. Mohammed Mandau would like to know, will they fill the holes in the columns placed with concrete? And his second question was, for the upper levels, will they construct them beam by beam, or will they create bigger segments like they did for Megabay?
All stick built. And yeah, I mean, right now, most of it is only 1 or 2 bolts holding everything down because they square up the building as they keep adding levels. So, and it'll probably be a more crushable concrete to keep them. If the floor moves, you can sometimes shear bolts.
And to expand on that too, the reasoning that they'll fill those eventually is that right now, some people may not realize that those columns are probably not actually sitting on the concrete pile cap. There's likely a bolt. Well, there's a nut underneath it so that they can self-level it, kind of like antenna towers and whatnot. And then that grout and concrete layer will get underneath there, create a perfectly level surface so you don't have any high points essentially to where you could damage what's below. And it's fully on that base plate.
Yeah, because you want 95% or so coverage between the base plate. And so you don't have just a point load going through the leveling nuts, essentially.
That kind of leads into a question from Kal-El. He's wondering if what he reads is true. Do they actually have a layer of gravel between 2 slabs for the floor of the new bay?
Yes.
Yeah, the bay floor is completely floating in relation to the pile cap. And floating being on an isolated sand and gravel base.
BJ, I would like for you to know that the tower crane at Roberts Road has completed its little.
Yeah, before the show started, they had already done 2 sections. I think I imagine the 3rd section went in there on the jacking.
Yeah. Okay. Any more?
Yeah. Just a
spec
couple
questions?
quick ones. Do you think the lack of TC1 work could be to avoid collision with TC2 boom?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to start in this corner, yes, but I imagine they could just start in this corner and work clockwise. But BJ was thinking that this one will go counterclockwise.
Yeah, I think
But
I could see them both working from the
rotate.
middle. I mean, they could either direction could go, but yeah, I don't think it has to do with the boom collision. I think it's just the logistics. They're still getting a parts flow working, and it's not yet.
The wrong labeled columns they might ship the columns out of order too.
Yeah.
I'm going to stack together a couple of speculation questions, one from Jose M and one from Chaos King. First one, what do you think the odds are they'll connect Gigabay to the Star Factory? And then Chaos King was, would they reconfigure Megabay for ships as soon as they start to use Gigabay for boosters? Megabay 1 for ships, sorry.
Will be built in boosters in here.
Yeah, I would say to answer the first question, yes. I guess the thought is that they will bridge this aisle right here. I personally think that they'll focus on booster manufacturing first, like get booster workstations first, because they may want to start disassembling Megabay 1 after this is operational. So I think their first goal would be to reach the point where they can disassemble this. So I would say boosters may be the priority, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't think Megabay 1 will ever be switched to ships. The question would be, does any of these first 6 turntables, will the turntables be able to stack a ship or a booster, or will 1 or 2 of them be ship stacking to get us until a second phase of Gigabay?
I personally think they'll move all the stack in here and take the other 2 down at the same time. And mainly ships over boosters, mainly because you're going to have to make a whole lot more ships, at least at first, than boosters.
All right, we're clear on questions for Gigabay, but I did want to thank Yazada for a $10 super chat. All aboard the Matt Mike Fund. And then Pete 2.0, check 1, 2. Thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Love that.
Awesome. Yeah, and furthermore, I feel like to start off, they'll probably only have 1 booster stacking station and the rest for ships, if I had to guess. Or 2 and 4. Yeah, I mean, most of this is going to be ships in general. Like I would say 75% of Gigabay, even when it's extended, will be ships.
And
if not 80%.
I also think after the decking is poured, they'll start installing the fixed stands or the fixed floors that they're building for the Gigabays before the building's even built.
For the Megabase. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying earlier. And I don't know if I should pull up another image of those, but yeah, I think it would make the most sense to do that. However, I would also expect that there would be tabs on those beams if they were preparing for that already. But I think we'll know rather quickly because we'll probably start to see curved beam sections arrive here, and that'll kind of give the jig up. So yeah.
No, I love that theory of yours.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that's how they do it, because that will dramatically decrease the time it takes for them to begin outfitting those workstations, because I imagine they won't want to do the same thing they're doing now, which is start off using scaffolding and then add those in later. I feel like they would want to, I mean, they know what they want it to look like, so they might as well include heavy structures like that into the design. And I guess the question at that point would be if the tower cranes are able to lift things like this, which I imagine they should be able to. Or they might be too heavy. I don't know.
If
Yeah,
not,
they should. Yeah, they should. It shouldn't be a problem on a lifting capacity. I think the interesting part of that would be in terms of just the flow of build, but particularly the 4 stations that have the cranes might have a bit of a harder time reaching really, really close to themselves. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I really hope they don't wait until the very end to start putting in the actual vehicle access platform work and build it as they go a little bit.
Yeah, I would expect to see maybe them start assembling these in Sanchez or something soon. I mean, I guess would it be any more difficult to wait until the main structure is complete before they start doing that? I feel like it would be easier to do it before there's anything overhead, right?
Yeah, when you're building high rises, they're finishing like 3 floors below what they're usually erecting, the steel wise. That's
Right.
a common workflow.
Yeah, I think the only difference here is the fact that you don't, on a high rise, you'd have floors protecting the workers below from the workers above. So it could be that it would be okay, they get all the walls up to the roof level, then they outfit, and then they cover it over. But it would be nice to see them stagger it a little bit sooner than that.
Yeah. Cool. Any more questions? I think we're at the 2-hour mark somehow already.
We're pretty much clear. We got one more about HLS, but we'll wait on that one.
All right.
Yeah, good thing is the rest of the
I've got
build site
some-
was pretty quiet this week. So,
And nothing of interest at the launch site, really.
I guess one more thing at the build site to talk about would just be the parking garage.
With parking garage with a few apartments attached.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy. And I think this is interesting, the way that they have these handrails around here. And I'm starting to wonder if these are going to be like observation decks. This one's not the greatest one. But I feel like you wouldn't have this up here unless you were going to... I mean, you're going to have to install HVAC somewhere, I guess. So maybe that would be all on the roof. But it would be cool if these were observation decks.
yeah, it could be both.
What do
We
you
did
guys- I feel like
we did
have
see
that
some walls.
penetration.
Yeah, there are some penetrations in certain spots, and there's even the covers over the on the kind of on the wedge section. I feel like the ones that we saw in the middle of this long wall aren't there in the final concrete pours. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
You could have the little plastic covers that have just a slight glaze of concrete over them. But
Yeah, the only thing really they're adding other than the garage is that new little section of steelwork that's being put in the corner to finish off the atrium.
Yeah, I was looking for the image that showed that better, but I don't have it. So, yeah, weird little corner thing going on there.
that might extend out because there's those.
Yeah, there's a lot more steel on
weld
the ground there.
plates. Yeah, on the wall. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can see the wall, the precast panels. You can see where the plates are in the wall there to attach the floor beams to.
Yeah.
And what do you think that is? It's an atrium?
Yeah, it looks less atrium. I mean, it looks like some kind of entrance, given the fact that it's not the concrete form. So I said atrium. Atrium usually means kind of infers that it's multi-level, but it may not be multi-level.
I mean, they're still looking for a hotel manager, so
Let's see. I don't think there's anything to talk about in the village. Plus, I don't think we have tons of images from the village this week. But I guess we could briefly mention their little Halloween celebrations they got going on. So it looks like they got a bunch of stuff down here. You can see a huge Frankenstein down there. It's like they have like a whole. They have. I think these are like blow up things right here, possibly.
Yep.
Yeah. Somebody unplugged
Yeah.
her.
So they had a pretty decent celebration going on down here. Then you can see down over in this lot too. They had a bunch of stuff set up, a bunch of more blow up figures down there as well too. So taking care of the kids. Alrighty. I guess we can. Oh, somebody's going to ask me to show Rio West. Go ahead.
Sonzo's lot SpaceX actually somehow got from Texas parks and whatever. Yeah.
You talking about these?
Yeah, Event Dudes posted something. Yeah, a few, like 3 of the lots they actually were able to get from without doing the land swap, which is interesting.
So we'll probably start seeing some more houses on these ones soon.
Yeah, I think it's those 2 and the one at the end of between San Martin and.
Looks like they got this one.
Yeah, they've been gobbling them up lately.
To be expected.
The one in front of the apartment, they also got.
Just show Rio West really quick.
Yay.
Not gonna stay on it too long, but yeah, there's the current progress for Rio West. Coming along well. And I don't think there's anything else happening at the yeah, this one is pretty much the same. No changes there. Border Patrol Station.
That's nice to get confirmation what it is.
Yeah, I had a feeling that's what it was going to be when I went down there a few months ago, because when they removed the other one, it only made sense that they would add a new one, because they no longer use the Border Patrol Station at the end of Highway 4 as their primary. Since that's gone. So if you visited Starbase recently, you will have seen Border Patrol all up and down Highway 4, but at least they have a new office building now. So, alrighty. So we'll go ahead and move over to, the launch site. The ASU, we'll start there. So if any of you have been paying attention to Lab Padre's Rover 2 camera, they've been bringing in these bags nonstop, and it's almost like hard to believe that they are just coming in at the rate that they are, because they're just stacking up everywhere. I think there's actually less this week than there was last week, because they've finally started to actually lay them out. So you can see they've been putting some along the outside of the perimeter of the wall. Not really sure why, but most of it's going on the inside. So it's basically like this is a whole giant bathtub and they're filling it up with this. But curiously, they do have the, I would say more curious is the fact that they put piles around this perimeter just to support this little wall that goes around the outside. But it looks like they're about to start drilling more piles in the center. You have some rebar cages down here. So that will be to support whatever the tower for the ASU, and I don't think there'll be any storage tanks. Maybe there will. Smaller storage tanks. Do you guys think there'll be storage tanks here?
Smaller ones. And those are more point load piles, since they're not really for lateral support, since they only have the center bit going down the entire length, the center rebar. So they're not expecting a lot of moment loads. So yeah, those are just for supporting dead weight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach,
So
what's in the bag?
It's a lightweight
so
gravel. Go on.
Yeah, they're called Glavel, right?
Yeah.
Glavel.
Yeah, Glavel is a brand name. The newest bags are from a company called Glafor, but it's a glass foam aggregate.
Yeah.
Like pumice.
And then the other one, what was the other one called?
Glafor, Glaphol, Glaffle, or maybe it's
Are you
an
sure?
R. Yeah, it might be an R. Yeah, there you go. Basically the same thing, just two different suppliers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So they
sort of
basically
like
are used for the foundations, right? So
an insulation. Does it? Nice. Yeah, in Europe they use a lot more of foam concrete for this sort of stuff.
yeah, it's a very thick layer that they're going to be putting down here because, like I said, these trucks have been arriving nonstop, and they actually also had some of these at Massey's, so they've like ran out of storage there at the ASU site, and they've been bringing them to Massey's as well. So there's that safe to assume they're going to completely fill this entire tub.
What's kind of hilarious is in the culvert, they've backfilled some dirt to set the vaults on. The top corner is even more obvious. On
The left
to
corner,
the
yeah.
left, yeah,
This one.
yeah.
Yeah, so they're running conduit through here still. I think most of it's down there, but they haven't like joined all of it together. So I'm guessing they've already done that down in this area, but yeah.
That's weird.
I would like to know if I'm mixing it with concrete or is it just going down flat?
Where?
Say that again?
Are they mixing it with concrete or is it just laid down by itself?
It's just laid down like a subgrade prep.
Yeah, you can see. So on the bottom of the bags, there are little flaps, like square flaps. So this crane or this front loader will basically lift these over wherever they're installing it. So that where I saw they lifted it over the wall, and then the guy just comes and rips the little flap on the bottom, and they dump it all out. So it's not mixed with anything.
I mean, you usually put a couple feet of gravel underneath slabs and then put some sand and a vapor barrier.
So on this same topic, at the port, we have started to see components for that ASU show up, and kind of surprised by Alex's thoughts on this. But Alex, do you want to talk about this at all?
Currently, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it's a quite a bit larger unit than the one they're built in Brownsville, and substantially larger than the unit they had previously at Sanchez.
Which is wild because the footprint of the site is far smaller, right?
Yeah, but when you see the sizes of compressors and their heat exchangers, because I think that long dogleg skinny section is where they're going to have the big cooling towers.
Oh, okay.
Compressed air. Yeah, and we don't have the low pressure cold box. We only have the high pressure cold box at the site currently, right here, that we're looking at in the walled off one. Yeah, that's a high pressure cold box.
Yeah, and I think we did have one shot of the one in Brownsville. Maybe.
We did a couple weeks back.
Here it is. Really far away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess without having big storage tanks on site, that may not be necessary for such a large footprint. So
yeah, the structures that are there are the ones to the right of the cooling tower. Yeah, the condensation tower.
So yeah, good progress on that, I guess. Let's see. Let's move over to the tank farm. So this was another cool flyover. Always for the GSE nerds, being able to see them in the process of testing this stuff, and all the frosted lines helps to trace down paths that may have been confusing before. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure what they were doing here, but I think they may have just been cycling methane through the system.
Yeah, I don't think it was routed all the way to the GSC pad bunker. Actually,
It doesn't look
no,
like it. Well,
was.
these
It
are
was.
you wouldn't be able to see it. These are these are
The lower level of the pipeway looks. Yeah, they had to because they're frosty path valves.
are
Yeah,
these
that's what
frosty?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying that, Alex. I was wondering. I think you had maybe popped out after when I saw it, but how far would it have to go before it can return back down the return line? Because I don't.
The big valve at the corner of the wing wall where that
Okay,
boom lift
so
is.
there is. That's what I thought. I didn't think there was anywhere here like in this bunker. I thought it had to go all the way to the pad side bunker.
The only thing in this bunker, the methane liquid vapor returns are merged. And yeah,
Can't tell if any of this is frosty. This kind of looks like it is, though.
that's insulation. So they're primarily they're purging lines. But yeah, and it's really cool because they were blowing out some of the lines in the entire
On the
ground.
mount.
Yeah.
I do have video of that. I'll probably show it here in a little bit. Yeah, so doing some testing, I guess definitely a sign that they're going beyond just the pump stations and all the way basically to the bunker or the what are we calling this down here?
That's the isolation and purge.
Yeah. So doing further testing than what they have already, and like I said, on the methane side. Elsewhere in the tank farm, they haven't started removing some of the things that we were expecting them to remove. So these down here, these are water heaters, which we're expecting will be removed soon. And they still have more vaporizers to add in, but I think that some of this stuff is being delayed a little bit because of the fact that a lot of the GSE guys are at Massey's currently. So not as much work down here, but a lot of the deconstruction work is proceeding rather nicely. So you can see this is the methane, where the methane pumps were. So completely removed. Do I have a down-looking view of that? This is a good one. Yeah, so all of those manifolds on top of the methane heat exchangers have been removed. So these are the outlet manifolds for methane. These are the outlet manifolds for nitrogen. And then all of the pumps have been removed.
And sumps. Those are
The pumps, the motors, pumps, sumps, all removed. And I think they've transported all of those already. You can see the manifolds down here that were on top of the heat exchangers. And I think that I just saw these ones get transported away from the site this morning. Then on the lock side.
The lock side's spectacular.
Yeah, it looks night and day different because, I mean, everything that was down here is all gone. All the valve manifolds and everything that were down there have all been removed. All of the pipes the vent pipes that went over to the wall, can't even really see where they went now anymore. They had a pipe stand that was back up here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they removed that. Might be a better image. So completely tearing all that stuff apart. You can see these appear to be things that they are not planning to keep. Some of them, like this right here, seems like they may intend to keep it for some reason. I'm not really sure why though, because the configuration for all of this stuff is completely different at their new standardized version of everything. So even this, I don't think could be reused, but the way that they shipped it off, it seems like they do plan to reuse it.
Set up a room of 6 of those, that would work very similar to what they have currently under the floor, the lock side here.
Right. But this goes on top, which is different.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like the ones down here, the manifolds are a little bit different. You actually can't see them. They're back down here.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit different. So I don't know. Maybe they're doing things slightly different at 39A because down here they're packing things into such a small space. So it may be different at 39A. But yeah, making quick work removing all this stuff. Go ahead, Alex.
I just think would be novel if they reuse it, just because this all seemed very bespoke, custom for this site.
Yeah, I think that the sad part is that even, I mean, the flyovers that we get at KSC are better than nothing, but we definitely can't see details like this. So, you know, I feel like it'd be nearly impossible. We'd have to get lucky for SpaceX to like show it during a Falcon 9 launch, or maybe even the first Starship launch down there, show the tank farm, and then we may be able to like glimpse this stuff. But even with the launches from Starbase, they don't show the tank farm very often. Like you can't see small details like this. So I doubt we will be able to identify them down at KSC, but there's a chance. But yeah, I think by this time next week, I would expect maybe the subcoolers to be removed as well too, as long as they get all this stuff cleaned up, because they'll probably want to stage them down here before they transport them away.
Yeah, I think that's kind of impressed with faster. I thought they'd move quick, but this is kind of, they definitely need these coolers someplace else.
Yeah. Definitely a sign of that. The fact that they're moving as fast as they are with this. I mean, the fact that they started with these is a big indication of, you know, like you said, that they do need them elsewhere.
It looks, just from where the locks valve manifolds, it looks like they took all of that. The ones that were behind underneath the that whole valve assemblies, I think they probably shipped out. And
some of it's down here.
Yeah, but the big basket strainers,
Right.
Basket strainers are off to the left, kind of towards the old FTS bunker. Or at least
there should have been 4 of them, and only seeing the 2. That one's from the methane side. So yeah, it's the stuff that they're, all the commodity stuff for the most part is just being thrown in the bin. Most of the pipe work and
yeah, the pipes are all being cut apart and thrown away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think next, after they're finished that, we'll see this bunker removed. And same with pretty much everything in this back corner should be removed. These water tanks, these water tanks, all of that should go. Literally, like I said previously, basically these are really the only thing I truly expect to remain. And I think that they'll probably replace this as well.
Yeah, I mean, they've already ripped off a lot of the HVAC. The power.
Yeah, all the HVAC vents down here. This building sucked. They really spent a lot of time trying to upgrade the HVAC system to be able to handle the cooling needed for this building, and that's part of the reason why I don't think the one at Pad B will be used, because it has nowhere near the amount of cooling that this one does. So I do think that mega bunker is a critical piece of when we'll finally start to see Pad B, real testing at Pad B. But yeah, I guess further on, the berm over here is almost gone. There's probably a better angle of that.
Yeah, it's making a lot of good swimming pool fill.
Oh yeah, so they've actually been filling. Let me switch over to this.
Hopefully they remember to drill some holes in it.
So they've been filling the the retention pond with dirt, which is interesting. And do you guys have thoughts on this? Because I only have one idea of why they would need to do this.
Added workspace for staging and cranes and stuff.
Yep, that's where I lean on it as well.
Yeah, that's
Crane
what I was
mat.
thinking, that this is basically crane mats so they can get the QD arm off of this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because they're making short work of the old deluge farm too.
Yeah, they
Rust
broke out
Belt.
the concrete around the bottom of the weirs.
Yep.
Is that the only thing they've started on so far, though?
They've been doing preliminary work to start removing them. I think they've welded some eyelets to the bases of the 4 smaller tanks. They were cutting the saddles on the 3 bigger tanks on some ground photos this week.
Mm-hmm.
So
Should be removing these soon.
everything must go.
Yeah, and you can see that they they removed all of the panels off of the side of the drawworks. So last week they had removed all the cables, and they've taken all the side paneling off of the drawworks. I imagine this roof will probably come off soon next. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled the whole drawworks.
I think they're going to.
Yeah, you can see they pulled the roof off of the, what do you call this? The dead spool?
Yep. Yeah, it definitely seems like that entire lean-to section, and this one's really not a lean-to like the other ones, but it seems like this whole structure in the back is going to get the upgrade and more usable like the other one, like the even the tower at 39A, which isn't even as good as what's at Tower 2.
Yeah, this is like half as deep as the other one, right? Like it should come out to like.
Yeah, not sure if it's half, but it's definitely deeper on the new ones than what this was.
Yeah.
There's also
So
there's also theory that they'll swap over and put the drawworks over on this side and swap the dead end and the drawwork sides to match the other 2 towers as well.
Why is that necessary though?
Not necessarily necessary, but the being able to take I don't know if there's an advantage within infrastructure in the tower to take the drawworks end of the cable up higher, so it doesn't have to pass through as much of the tower because it goes in underneath the SQD arm now. That's the only thing I could think of, but it wouldn't necessarily I don't think it would have a huge effect, but speculation nonetheless.
Right.
What's that stairwells there? I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of hope they get rid of it and put a new staircase inside, but probably won't happen.
Yeah. I expect them to strip off almost all the mechanical systems and start fresh.
Yeah, this is gonna be cool to see them redo that. I think they've started to take apart those stairs as well too.
Yeah, at least the section there was one section that went over the roof, so they had to take the bridge off to get the roof off. So we'll see how far they continue with it.
Oh, they put
and
steel plates
this is
over
the worst
walls.
part of the whole tower, these stairs.
Oh, God.
Because on Tower B, the stairs are inside of the next to the elevator, which I don't think they're going to be able to do here. I think these stairs will probably end up staying, unfortunately. But yeah, the interesting thing is the cryo situation, because there is at least one cryo line that I think they need to add in here that doesn't exist already. But the rest, I'm not sure about. I think there's also a lot more high pressure lines going to the new GSE arm, which may not exist in here currently. So there's definitely going to have to be some pipes that get added inside the building. And they've gotten around that by adding them on the outside of the building previously. So we'll see if they end up doing that again. What do you guys think is going to happen with the tower?
I hope they strip the insides out and start over. Because, yeah, a lot of the mechanicals have changed. A lot of some of the systems that were in the tower are now in the arm. using the vacuum jacketed more for armorings than anything else seems to work better than the high density foam that are in these lines.
But how would they get that in there?
Oh, you can get creative. I mean, once it's the inner truss, you could probably slide stuff in, or you have a fleet of welders.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you could
That would.
you could open up a hole up here, and then through that top floor as well too, and then you'd be able to drop things in, maybe. But that would be difficult.
I mean, high rise, they do sometimes that with jib cranes, but that would probably be above and beyond.
That would be interesting though to see a crane installed on top of the tower.
There are
Actually, I
a
take
lot.
that back.
There are a lot of people who would be very happy with that you said that right now.
All right. Well, ignoring that.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, moving on. The launch mount itself has been getting gutted. You can see that all of the cryo tubing was cut off of it, and they did it exactly how I was hoping. I was hoping they weren't going to use cranes to like lift each piece off as it's being cut. They're just dropping them straight to the ground, which I wish we had audio of that because it probably sounds awesome. And yeah, so all of the everything that's hanging below the deck is gone at this point. The only remaining plumbing is inside the legs. So they haven't touched anything that's within the legs yet. You can see they've removed or at least opened up the doors down here, so they're preparing to start doing that. I imagine they'll cut this entire plate off and then strip all of that piping out soon. And then we mentioned previously all the green paint. They have finally started cutting all of that off. Matter of fact, let's see.
Rover 2 has had some good angles of that.
Yeah, I do have. So Vix posted a nice time lapse from last night. This is them cutting open the BQD on the side. They're not even cutting the doors. They're cutting above and around. They're cutting around the doors pretty much. So lots of cutting on both sides of the BQD. And then they're basically cutting windows into the side plating. So they're cutting around along this green line and up to the top. So it's almost like they're leaving a little wall. Oh, that was a great shot right there at the end where you could see the holes in the side of it.
I mean,
so
that steel is better than putting temp railing up.
I don't get that though. I don't get why they're doing this because I would cut all the way up to where it joins with the little umbrella and then just drop the whole panel.
I'd put the
that'd be way more fun.
On the
I'd agree on the fun, but I agree on the fun, but I feel like the way they're doing it now is like Alex was saying, allowing that catwalk structure to stay there, have a safety railing without having to put up scaffolding, and then the awnings will probably slide off too. They're just working on those first panels, I guess.
You want to work in the shade. It's hot in Texas. Finally gonna see inside that launch mount all the stuff we want to see 2 years ago.
Yeah, and that's why I'm hoping that they don't leave this up here because it'll make it a lot more difficult to see that stuff.
Yeah, I know.
But there's so much that they have to remove from inside of there. I have a feeling they've already removed all the hoses for the booster, the Raptor QDs.
They did.
Because they had a bucket, like a crane was suspending a bucket like right over here. So I have a feeling that they were throwing all those hoses into the bucket. But
I think that pile right there.
Is that the pile of them right there?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's one of them. I think Caesar had a ground shot earlier in the week where all the hoses, data cables, and all sorts of stuff. It looked like stuff you could pull out after a fire, to be honest.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't see that before, so I'm gonna have to go back and find those images on my own. But yeah, pretty cool to see all of that getting pulled out. But I mean, the only part that sucks is that we won't get to see. I have a feeling some of the stuff along the wall will already be cut apart before. What is this?
Fine.
Big shear claw.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for.
Yeah, we saw it roll. It went into the build site at first before coming here, and we were all like, "You're in the wrong place. That's demolition equipment, not building equipment."
So what do you use that for?
Cutting steel.
So does it attach to this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an excavator attachment. Kind of like the one, like the single double claws that they use that we've seen before. This one's just three claws on one side, two on the other. Bigger.
Jaws of life.
Yep.
And these are for breaking out concrete?
Yep.
Yeah.
I personally think the part of this that's going to take the longest is below the deck, like removing all this steel and then the concrete underneath it because it's like 15 meters deep. That's going to be interesting to see that. But all the torch work, I mean, they make so much progress especially overnight when you can actually see all the sparks flying. They make just a ton of progress on that every day. So I don't know. I feel like it's probably going to take, I don't know, at least a full month, maybe 2 to fully strip it down. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that might. I don't know. The time it's. I mean, they've only been working a couple days now on starting to cut the green lines, but it feels like it's going even slower than I would expect. So that might even be optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they can cut most of that plate with shears and be torching it. That's joking.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if they made a portable water jet, and then when they're the 10 or 12, 15 meters of the caisson concrete, breaking that up is going to be spectacular.
Yeah, there's so much pilings underneath this that have to get broken out. Well, yeah,
Luckily,
they do have to get removed, right?
Yeah, the large ones, they should be able to recalc and just once they cut it down to whatever's a trench pile cap is going to be at. Because I mean, most of those piles carrying capacity is well below the surface.
Right.
And the only place where it'll be interesting is where the walls are, because that'll have a little bit more potential for lateral loads.
And for those who are curious, I do have a cool. If you've seen my latest episode, then you've probably seen this recently. Let's see if I can find it quickly.
If not, you really should watch it.
So this is what the foundation under the launch mount looks like. This is from Ryan Hansen Space. Yeah. Quite a lot of pilings down there. So that'll be interesting. And like I said, this deck, this blast surface is extremely thick. So breaking this out in particular, I feel like is going to be quite a lot because there's just so much rebar involved in that. I think this is actually, I have a good rebar shot of this. Let's see.
Luckily, it's a OG micropiles, fully removed by Flight 1.
Yeah, tons of rebar, concrete down there. That's going to be fun. Cool. The chopsticks. I haven't been paying attention to the chopsticks. Have they done anything with those this week?
Yeah, right after last week's flyover, they removed the tip screw jacks have been pulled out for the pushers. They've left the ones closer to the hinge installed, but they're over by the deluge farm. But we saw them working on hooked up, I think, to the near ones the week prior, but then they never got uninstalled, which confused me as to what they were doing. And but the two that would get removed for the shortening process are gone now.
Right. One thing that I've been thinking about with, so I'm still not convinced that they're going to modify these in place. I mean, I guess it's not too difficult if you remove, beam by beam, I guess. But I feel like they may want to just pull the entire thing off because it's kind of in the way. Especially without the drawworks there, they can't just lift it up out of the way. I have a feeling they may want to pull these off, but maybe they won't. But more importantly, the one big difference between pad A and pad B, as far as the tower goes, this tower is roughly, I want to say, 3 meters shorter.
Yeah, I think it's less than 3. I think it's a little bit less than that, but it is slightly shorter. It is slightly shorter than what the Tower 2 is, yeah.
So
at the base level.
I have a feeling that the trench will be 2 meters deeper and the top deck of the launch mount will be 2 meters shorter than pad B. I have a feeling.
Maintain the deck to ground level.
Deck to top of the tower level.
Yeah.
Because right now, if you built this at the same height, then you would have basically 2 meters less of tower. So I think that they would probably want to have the trench, the flame bucket, and launch deck all 2 meters lower.
Yeah,
so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, because all the QDs, the ship QDs, would be wildly in the wrong place.
Yeah, definitely. That's the biggest thing for sure, is maintaining where the QD's mounting points are.
And this would all have custom set points for welder operations. Yeah.
Lots of fun stuff coming up with Pad A, I would say. And I guess we can actually, I'm sure we got questions here, so we might as well do questions here, and then we'll move over to Pad B.
Yeah, we got a few of them here. A couple of them had already answered about will they remove the shower head in pieces. Oh, no, actually, we didn't answer it exactly. Will they remove the shower head in pieces?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got to cut it up. I don't think you can, to lift it out the same way it was put in won't work. The way they did that, they had beams installed across it that they used to lift it in there. So I highly doubt they're going to install those beams just to lift it back out when they could just cut it into smaller pieces. But getting out after you cut it into smaller pieces is going to be the interesting part, because they're still fairly heavy sections. So you probably have to weld some sort of lifting eyes on there to get it out. But yeah,
I think to lift it, cutting through 1.5 inch stainless. They'll be busy cutting here for a few weeks. Cut. It's only attached along the perimeters. Cut it there, weld on some lifting eyes. You won't have the OLM on top of it, so you could probably get a load spreader and just not have to do that sideways dance that they did when they installed it.
I think it's thicker than 1.5 inches. I'd have to go back and check. I thought it was closer to 3.
You might be right. It's massive. It wouldn't be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, the pancake sections were grouted into the foundation too, so that's going to make it fun, a little extra fun too.
Yeah, they were.
Zesty would like to know if they're going to replace the first deluge systems and if they're going to go with the Pad B design.
Everything will be Pad B design.
Everything must go.
Or an iterative version of the new, but yeah.
Yeah, if there's any differences with Pad B, it'll be with heights of certain things and oh wow, now that I think about it, having to lower the top deck 2 meters is a big difference for that bunker. That'll be interesting. It'll have to be partially underground.
Kind of goes with Ant's Elite's question. Will they do? Excuse me. Nope, it got changed around. Oh, Matt's for deleting questions as I read them. It's all get me screwed up. AZ Space Geek wants to know if there's any chance they might pull down a tower to build a new one.
As much as I would like to see that, I doubt it.
That would solve a lot of problems, unless there's structural damage to the base. And clever engineering will probably solve some of the height difference.
All right, and Ant's Lace, and again, I apologize if I butcher names, would like to know what will they do to make up for the shorter base that Pad 1 has?
Yeah, I think we touched on that one.
Okay. Atomic Tom would like to know, did they do a slower liftoff on Booster 11 to represent a full payload? That's why there's melting on the old OLM?
My theory is that they intentionally put the Raptors over that to get wear estimates for the new top pancake deck.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Jeff and I did a comparison with those. I don't know if I can find that quickly enough. They looked very similar. If anything, it was a faster liftoff. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's see if I can bring this up here. So this is flight 10 on the left and 11 on the right. So we were trying to see if you could visually see any major differences. It did seem a little bit brighter this time, so we thought maybe there's more thrust, but it was slower. Yeah, I guess it was slower, so there may have been more contact with the launch deck for longer, but difficult to say for sure.
The other thing, even though it's 200 tons, what percent of the total stack mass is that? It's the fully loaded shouldn't make that much an impact of its thrust to weight ratio, so it should almost be imperceptible when it's taking off.
All right, one last question for Pad 1 area. What will they do with the old piles on Pad 1? Will they remove them or reuse them?
Depending on the loading and geology and report, they'll probably reuse them. When after flight 1, they probably, what would you say? They're like 10 meters down exposed, Zach?
The new ones?
No, when they excavated after.
Like 15 meters?
Yeah, and the other trench is to the top of the ridge is about 10 meters. So that much of their piles had already been exposed previously. So it's more than likely they're just going to chop them down to that point and tie in new steel for the pile cap underneath. That's we're in a very crazy pattern, but yeah.
Cool. I guess we'll move on to Pad B. So let's see. What do we have this week? I guess we'll start off with the bunker, which I don't think I have any straight on shots looking at the bunker. It's probably the best one. They're doing something on the roof. I think they're just painting it.
Yeah, probably did paint / weather sealing. Yeah.
Yeah. And they've got windows on the other side, but they haven't done windows on this side yet. And I think they've started to do some work inside. There's a semi truck parked in here somehow.
Yeah, we think maybe that's the hose coming out of it, that it might be a spray foam insulation installers working inside.
That would make sense.
And I do think there are glass. It looks like there's glass panes in those windows up there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess there's some. These ones don't look like they have them, but maybe they do. Difficult to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely have them here, though, for sure. And then as far as electrical conduit, because at least I'm still thinking that a lot of the electrical conduit from this building, like basically all of this stuff down here, will get moved to this one. There is a little bit of conduit coming here so far, but nowhere near as much as I would expect there to be eventually. So we'll have to keep our eyes out on that.
Yeah, the interesting on that is the fact that they just poured. I mean, obviously, concrete has a short lifespan at SpaceX, but it's interesting that they poured that pad if they were going to be bringing significant amounts of conduit over there. In my opinion, I have a different.
Well,
opinion,
it should come in through the side more than likely, I would imagine. Maybe it comes in through multiple locations, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. As much conduit as there, I doubt it's coming. It seems like it need a lot of space to go because there's a third of the conduits there are only being used.
Right.
Anything
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. They have started to remove more stuff from the roof of this. I think you said that they cut holes in the side of this, though.
I'm of the opinion they might demo half of this because it looks like they can't tell if they've started rehooking up those condensers or if they're just staging them.
Yeah, the ones over on the side. Yeah, we didn't really get a good view of the other side. Even last week, it was a very limited view, but they had opened up the back side from this angle on the long wall and put in some new concrete block wall in there. So whether it's a sign of staying around long term or just short term or whatever, it's undetermined, I guess.
And the mechanicals of that bunker for HVAC. There seem to be. Unless they're doing what they did in the office and setting up chillers.
Yeah, there we got a little bit. Oh, and the black section there in the middle is what they blocked in last week. So they actually knocked out the left side and blocked that in now too. I didn't quite see this corner of this picture yesterday.
Neither have I.
Yeah, I hope they remove it. Let's see. Elsewhere in the tank farm or the water farm, not a ton going on down here. All the water tanks are fully connected. Yeah, not much new down there. They have started working in the this area again. The isolation. Yeah. So basically, they had this. You can't really see it from this angle. Yeah, so they added this skid down here, and they've started connect all the pipes. They got to add a bunch in between here and the rack on this side. But so it seems like they have started working on this again. We haven't seen any signs of them bringing in the permanent water source yet. We did see those pipes in the ground. I forget where they were at this point. I feel like
that
vault. Yep, they're where those white that vault just above that is where the water lines were put in last week. The closed vault. The closed vault just to the top of the white barriers, down into the left of your cursor. You got those barriers. Just that. Yeah, that's the water main vault right there.
Okay. So yeah, they haven't joined that to the actual water tanks yet, so they're still offloading with those hoses. And we have seen them bring in a lot of water loads this week, so probably expecting some more deluge testing early next week, if I had to guess. They have removed some of the scaffolding in the trench, but not all of it, which you can see on this side. They're removed most of it. The other side, there's still a bunch. Yeah, not a ton going on down in this area. Again, I think they still have a lot to do. Not a lot, but enough to do where it's not operational yet. And I think all those guys are at Massey's currently. But moving over to the actual pad B, you can see they've gotten almost all of the cladding installed. Everything on the main part of the bunker is installed. They still haven't added these panels down this side, but they have added them on the other side, so that looks cool. I think this may be as low as they go, or they may go. Yeah, I think that's as low as they go, because if you need to have space for people to be able to walk in, and I think if you go, this is probably about as low as you could go, where you'd start to have issues with getting in there. So
Yeah, I think the entrance is going to be through the two bigger holes in the middle. I think that'll get capped all the way to the ground.
So you think that what are they going to do with the stairs then?
Well, you just get through. You would just walk through the lower level to get to the stairs. There's access.
Okay.
The stairs aren't segregated from the bunker itself.
Okay. Just trying to see if I could find a
door on an angle.
So there's like a door down here, basically.
It's wide open.
Yeah, it's
To get
wide
to the
open.
stairs?
It's wide open,
Okay.
but between the locks is the two methane and lock slots are blocked off.
From each other, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. And one of the other big things they started doing this week, one of the last remaining items, they installed the vent covers down here. So you can see one down here, and they should put the second one, which is laying right here, will cover these vents.
Yeah, it's being installed. I'm of the opinion that there's going to be some sort of doors. The amount of structure they put for a simple deflector, it's kind of pointless. A lot of this lower level armoring to leave those two huge
That
holes.
open, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose at minimum they could just, because this looks like an embed plate right here.
It's a cover for a pipe they added. It's a vent pipe that comes right on the other side to the left of this frame. And that's the other vent. There's another one on that side for that. And right there, yeah.
Oh, so that was done recently?
Yeah, after they poured everything.
Okay. Yeah, we did see some venting from, I think, this one this week, which was quite significant for how small that vent is. I do have that right here. So this was, you see it coming out the bottom down there. So have started doing some more actual testing closer to the launch mount. I think that's not the first we've seen. I think we've seen a few vents coming from here before, but one of the first. The others, I'm not sure if we'll actually end up seeing those, because they're just nitrogen. Basically, there's nitrogen purge inside the bunker, and these are the outlets. So they're basically, I think, creating like a negative pressure space inside of here, so that it's constantly sucking air out. Would you disagree with that, Alex or BJ?
I think it'll be, well, if he leaves those two doors, that whole purging system is useless. But I think they'd keep it on positive pressure to keep gases from flowing in, and open those vents at the end to blast out the added pressure.
Okay. Yeah, and there's vents up here too, which you can see they cut the holes through this. So they'll probably put caps, similar caps like this one over these as well too, or maybe a smaller one like this one down here.
Yeah, they're down by the retention pond, but yeah, they're mid-size there to the right, just to the right of the flat cladding. Those two are right there.
Yeah, there's still some plates they have to add to them.
Those are bigger than I expected.
Hmm.
Oh, well, I guess they go all the way
Yeah.
at top. Okay.
Yeah, I think those triangle wedges by that trailer, the sidewalls for those.
Yeah, on the
Whichever
right,
these-
next to where those covers were, there were some stainless ones to the right there.
Yeah,
So to go on the sides.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy seeing them get to the point where this is all they have left to install on this. So yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things I'd say we're still waiting on are the doors, the doors for the hold down arms. And what is this? Am I seeing the QD right here?
No, that's
Yep. Yeah, it's a
yeah,
cutie.
yeah, it is a cutie. Had methane on the brain.
Okay, yeah. That sticks out further than I was expecting. But yeah, so I think the hold down arms are mostly finished, or they're still doing work on the actual the balls, the little
You can see it.
sockets.
The ball's on. Yeah, that one's one, and yeah, right there at 3 o'clock. And there are a bunch of them there. A lot of them, it looks like they took off the cover. Yeah.
So they pulled it forward, basically.
It's in about the right place. Some of them, it looks like the thing falls forward, but I think that's just because that one looks like it's. It
Moved
looks
forward.
like they can. Yeah, it looks like they can rotate them.
Yeah, that's what I've been kind of watching. That one that we were looking at right there with the cursor. It looks like there's like a little pivot point just to the right of where the socket is. That somehow they have some form of articulation in the end of the clamps.
That makes sense.
And on a lot of some of the shots, you can tell that it's on. The actual support follows the angle of the arm, so the load path goes directly to the main pivot point.
Yeah, that one down below, you can kind of see how it looks like it's almost in the right position there, and with that angle kind of going downward.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I guess if you left them extended, it wouldn't be able to close all the way.
It should, because that's pretty low when it's closed. And it goes pretty far back in the opening, which is kind of crazy. They added a few weeks ago, I don't know if we've mentioned it on the show. They've drilled where they're going to attach the doors to these arms, but the shot you really can't see it.
Yeah, it's interesting, Alex. I remember you saying that it would happen fairly recently when they had the main pins removed, but I almost think I could see at least starting of those holes going back even like 5, 6, or 7 flyovers ago. So I wonder if they were just doing like doing some of the final milling or something on them.
That's what I think. You could see the hole pattern where they put the lock bore machine, and there's no way they welded all of those squares in a week. So I'm not surprised. I stopped when I saw the raw steel, and because that made sense why they had to pull the linkages out of the way. We're drilling through that area.
Yeah, let's see. Anything else on the deck? I think they're mostly finished with everything. The deck looks a lot cleaner than it has in past weeks. They have done a lot of retraction tests on the QDs over the last few. Yesterday, I think they did a bunch of retraction tests. So for the most part, it seems like these might be ready to go. I feel like they may still have electrical stuff to pull through here. It's difficult to tell for sure. But yeah, I do expect that we may see those covers within the next few weeks. Or, I mean, it probably makes more sense to leave them off until they start doing the first tests with booster on here. Because it's not like they'll be at risk of being damaged or something like that. As long as they cover them before the first launch, it may actually make more sense to just leave them uncovered for now.
Yeah, I had actually had the similar thought.
It'd probably be easy enough to remove them, right? So,
yeah.
Well, they still haven't drilled the holes on the methane for the hood anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is odd.
Well, the vent there, that fan, I have no idea where that goes. I think it's a fan.
Yeah, there's one over here as well too. I think it's not as high up as it looks like it is. So the bolts will still be able to go through there without colliding with that.
I was just wondering where it's exhausting or pulling air from. Because I imagine it's part of the whole purging or the
That looks like a camera mount to the right of that one right there.
That does.
Yes, please. Launch coverage.
I doubt we'll see that one, but
Yeah.
definitely an engineering camera for sure.
Oh,
Let's see. Anything else from? Is there one on this side? Right there.
yeah.
Nice.
Can always find something new.
Yeah, I would say once the scaffolding is removed. Well, actually, yeah, once the scaffolding is removed and I imagine they probably want the doors on here, then we may see them finally test the deluge system on the top plate. But I don't know. What do you guys think? How long we have until they do that?
I don't think they can install the doors with a lot of the inner scaffolding in.
Yeah, I guess it
depending how
depends.
the linkage.
The thought that I had is kind of based off of what like Chrome thinking the render we included in last week's episode. If it all flows outward, which obviously would make sense because you wouldn't flow it towards the towards the booster. But I
Yeah.
wonder if you could even test it without really doing anything in the inside. I mean, it's probably not going to get any more water than a thunderstorm would give the clamp arms.
Yeah, and at 39, they have us
They've been
already
filled up, though,
covered.
it looks like.
Yeah, figure out if they're going to close those or what they're doing with those yet.
On 39, so all OLMs are closed. It looked like on. Yeah.
But these did they cut these open? Were they always like this?
It's a seam from where the welding seam for where they welded the bottom side of the pancake for access. They never welded
Yeah,
that piece.
they never closed. Yeah, and it was never closed in the first place.
Well, I guess that could be a nice clean out. I guess if you allow everything to flow out of here, you can have like for the first time they run it.
Yeah.
Anything that can't fit through the holes, basically.
They may have. I'm surprised they haven't tested that. Well, finally, the deluge farm is at a point that they could flow water up here.
Yeah. Alrighty. Did they do some painting down here this week?
Yeah, they painted that wall of the OLM.
This one?
Yep. And they removed a lot of the temporary mounts they had for the scaffolding.
Scaffolding, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that side is getting very close to complete. That awful gap at the top of the shielding. Yeah, that slot.
There's a few of those actually.
Oh.
I think there's some over here too. There's a bunch of gaps in this one.
Yeah, they're slowly being fillet weld. Not like
Alrighty.
have. Yeah.
Oh, we do have the area in front of the tower. I don't know if there's a better.
Great Fondag debate.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I think it's Fondag under there, and that'll be the final surface. Personal opinion.
Wouldn't we have seen those bags arrive though?
Yeah, we did. They were in last week's flyover against the blast wall.
And
okay.
And they have.
Yeah, and they haven't taken delivery yet for that last little square yet. But there was a delivery there. I think 2 weeks ago. There might have been even delivery when they did the right half, and then they did the left half of it this week.
Yeah, and there was there's only one or two batch trucks, so kind of big, and they had the hopper for placement. Yeah, unfortunately.
So this is the last little remaining concrete that we need down here, pretty much.
Yeah, that little curb. Hopefully, it's just a trick of the light and the formwork. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's still.
Why would it be anything other than a curb?
Well, that's true. As SPMTs won't go that
Won't need to
way.
go that far. Yeah. Actually, they kind of do
They
need to
it
at
just
least get up to right here.
they just lift up an axle as they go.
Well, that's fun.
Ah, yeah.
Alrighty. Do we have anything else from Pad B? I think we're already over our 3-hour mark, so we'll maybe try and keep the questions to a minimum as well.
Not too many. Crayman would like to know if they will add burn plates to the wings of the GSC gantry cladding. Looks like uneven patchwork and the gaps between the cladding plates.
The one area where this shot shows that valley between the methane and the tank and the wall, yeah, right in there, looks like a prime candidate because there's a weird little step in that corner, which would almost
this?
yeah, it's something should go in there because it's very intentional the way those upper panels were assembled.
Credence would like to know if there's any your opinion on a Pad 2 dance floor.
I doubt it.
I've made that bold prediction earlier, but
Yeah, it'd
the
be
weird
very difficult.
shielding they put between the legs and the wall, and right inside that there's almost a sprocket teeth pattern. Yeah, those just the inner side by those burn plates. There's a sawtooth pattern for like something could ratchet up, and having that protrusion in that area just seems a little odd. So my really out there is that's what those are actually for, as a guide for some sort of panel. Hopefully I'm wrong, but
Yeah, I'm with Zach. I don't think there will be. I think the lack of complexity in the systems there. I think anything that does have to be worked on a bottom of a booster or something like that, they'll just put it over on the transport stand in the staging area and work on it there. And the clamps don't have a whole lot to work on that they couldn't do with them retracted and just inside working from inside maybe.
the only, and I don't know when the last time they had to do anything major up there, but yeah, I mean, where everything seems to be on the outer ring of the booster now, except for batteries. I don't know where those are stored, but and shines. Never mind. And without the shielding, I don't know how much they'd have to use it, but I just find the shielding they put very intriguing. Stuff curious. I don't want anybody to get too drunk right now.
Well, that's
Cool.
all I've got for questions. So whenever you guys want to close up.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I am probably going to go to a Halloween party tonight, so probably get myself ready for that once this show is done. But do want to thank everybody who's joined us today. If you guys have not done so already, make sure to hit that like button. I always forget to do it myself, and I literally do it at the end of the show every single time. But yeah, appreciate all of you who donated during the show today. Definitely helps us out. Do we miss any of those? Or did we cover all of them?
Pretty sure I got them all that I saw.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you to everybody who's donated today. Definitely goes a long way to helping us continue to do this every single week. So greatly appreciate that. And yeah, thanks to Mauricio for getting up there and getting some great flyover images as always. And thanks to Alex and BJ for helping me out, and Todd for taking over questions and donations. And with that, I will go ahead and pass it off to whoever takes it.
Thank you, Zach. A comes before B. So, and BJ, great show. Todd, everybody else. And yeah, hit the lights, and everyone have a great week.
Yeah, great show. Thanks to enjoyed having a chat with all you, and thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you learned some things, and look forward to seeing all you again for future shows.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, even though I wasn't planned. I'm glad I could be here to help out. Everyone, you have a great weekend. Let's see if I remember this right. Most engines cut off. Love you. Bye. I know I missed something. Have a great one, guys.